Can we please not talk about it? You're making it worse.
But the husband, he wasn't really forthcoming with the information.
Oh, it's all my fault.
And so the wife finally told that they had been trying to be adventurous, and then they kind of used the vibrator. Things got out of control, and the vibrator got lost inside of him. Somebody got too excited or something. I don't know. I assisted the doctor with the procedure. You kind of race against the clock because you definitely have to retrieve it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Truth Be Told. We've got a really, really packed show for us tonight, and only one guest joining me. Everyone, have a warm round of applause that we won't hear for Platinum Sparkles. Do you think they'll ever get the vibrator out of him?
No.
Oh, my goodness. It has been a crazy week. We have been eagerly awaiting the next filing in the Logan Paul case. So why don't we just go ahead and hop, skip, jump over to talking about that. I think last time we left off, they were still in the middle of the there was the resealing, which we did find out. I did reconfirm that after listening to some videos, and apparently Logan Paul's phone number had accidentally not been redacted. That is why they went back and re-redacted, but they redacted a bunch of extra stuff as well. So, I mean, that may have been the cause for some of the redactions, but I get the feeling some of them also were just kind of going back and getting rid of stuff. I understand completely wanting to get the phone numbers because apparently some people did call the phone number from my understanding. I guess I'm a weird person. And if someone's phone number that I don't know happens to be in a court filing, I'm not like, ooh, time to fuck with someone. You know, like I guess I'm just a normal person. That doesn't do weird things like that. So, but we did also get a new motion. They're trying to remind us from, I think it was either last episode or the episode before that, they're trying to get a transfer venue and stay under the first to file rule, saying that the class action lawsuit in the Logan Paul against Logan Paul and the other people who ran Cryptozoo filed first. And since the defamation claims are tied or have facts that reasonably concern each other, that this should move from the Western District to, I'm sure they'll mention it in the filing. So let's just go over to that, which court they want it to. Oh, in case it wasn't clear, I had been doing some light reading beforehand. But we got some interesting new facts that came out in this. They're not totally new facts because if you do go back to the original Logan Paul one, they do mention that they were that there was an FBI investigation. There was an SEC investigation, but they say that, they fizzled out. So you could be forgiven for missing it because they spend one sentence talking about it, hoping you will not see it, which most people didn't, and move on.
Do we know that the FBI investigation is over for sure?
No, that's We'll get into that. But that's the interesting part about that. We do know that the SEC one has concluded.
Yeah, we know that one for sure because
do not know.
Don't care anymore.
Well, yeah, they don't care about it. They were specifically told by the administration that crypto crime is legal.
Please don't give a fuck about this. Yes.
Yeah, no fucks to give. Mm-hmm. So, next up is the Coffeezilla one. So this is in response to the original opposition from Logan Paul. Now, obviously, and in the court system, you get a motion filed, you have the opposition, and then the original movement gets their chance to reply. So they're going to go over the first to file rule again. Response to Paul. Paul's response includes this. Okay, I mean, yeah, it would I get what they're going with here, trying to establish their narrative, but I think just about any court filing by any party is self-serving to a certain extent. You're making your argument. Let's see here. With government and Paul blames Coffeezilla for opening three of the opening of 3 government investigations. Oh, so there were 3 investigations. Okay, well, that's good to know.
Oh, by at least 2 different agencies.
Yeah. So on October
It
19th.
says different agencies, but that's okay.
the kind of typo I would probably make.
It's fine.
It's fine. So on October 19th, 2022, Coffeezilla apparently contacted the FBI with information about the entire Cryptozoo team, which this is the big contention that is going back and forth between Coffeezilla and Logan Paul. And Coffeezilla's filing, not Coffeezilla's, and Logan Paul's filing, he was saying that, they only gave selective information to the FBI to make it look like, Logan Paul was the criminal. Whereas Coffeezilla's lawyers is like, no, all the information that we had, that we gave in that documentary report that Coffeezilla did, we gave that to the FBI. There was no selective coloring of it. Yeah, contrary to the false narrative that Paul's response, that he specifically he specifically included the information about Jake Greenbaum. On October 20th, Coffeezilla tells Luciano, not going to go with that last name, sorry, Mr. Skip, we'll just call him Skip, that he thinks Paul and his manager may want to have good intentions, but also states in a portion of the conversation omitted by Paul that they end up dropping a bunch of balls and hurting people. I'd say that's pretty fair. October 23rd, Coffeezilla submits an initial whistleblower report, so we get the SEC involved on October 23rd, 2022. Contrary to the false narrative in Paul's response, that Coffeezilla's initial report suggests Paul and the Cryptozoo team recklessly caused millions of dollars in damages, which is, consistent with what he told Skeb. 25th to the 27th, Coffeezilla receives the Cryptozoo founders group chat and meeting notes from the confidential source revealing an intentional market manipulation by all the founders, including Paul. Thus, while Coffeezilla initially gave Paul the benefit of the doubt and suggested his conduct was merely reckless, Coffeezilla now had evidence suggesting that Paul knew he scammed investors. And that's kind of key there. Can't be defamation if it's the truth, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So through December, having already provided a whistleblower report to the SEC and other information to the FBI, Coffeezilla posts his series. Then in February 2nd, the Holland case is filed. February 13th, the SEC reaches out to Coffeezilla, asking him whether he will speak with the SEC on a voluntary basis in relation to their investigation. On the 14th, the SEC issues a formal request for documents regarding Cryptozoo and Dink Doink.
So stupid.
Coffeezilla submits supplemental information, and Paul receives the subpoena to testify regarding the Cryptozoo before a grand jury in the Eastern District of New York. Excuse me. This is in Texas. That one's in. Now, this is an interesting one because I looked at this. You can go into the exhibits that someone thankfully bought, because buying this is what I did. Someone went back and got the exhibits, which was expensive because there's a lot of 30-plus page exhibits. So whoever did that, also apparently my internet, or I don't know, whatever, trying to buy all those in bulk, it didn't like doing that. So there's that. So
you could always request that someone buy them on Court Listener. You can
please.
Exactly.
So I actually looked up on Pacer the case number they gave for this search warrant that was issued. Now this is the part that makes me think that the FBI investigation might still be open, because different court districts will use this. I find this super freaking frustrating, why they can't add some little designation for each federal district court, so that way, by just looking at the case number, you can tell what court it's in. Instead, they'll all use the same case number, and then you'll have to look at the separate column for what court it's out of. But when I did a search on that case number, you can actually look up by the case number search warrants if they're like, specific, at the specific case number. I couldn't find it. There's like 6 others from 6 different federal courts using the same case number, but this one from the Eastern District of New York ain't in there, which it's kind of interesting because it kind of confuses me because on one hand, if there could be an error with the search, that's a distinct possibility. Usually if it was sealed, if they still haven't had the grand jury yet, you would want it sealed until it was released and the actual grand jury happened. Or if the investigation is still ongoing, you don't want all these evidence of possible people who could also still be people that you would drag into this that aren't already part of the investigation. You don't want to tip your hand. But at the same time, if that was the case, why would they let him publish it in this case? So it's one of those things. I mean, it kind of leans towards it's kind of a pacer error, but it was filed on the 23rd, so it's been 2 years. So like it leans, in my opinion, towards this investigation is still ongoing because you can't just look it up on Pacer, this search warrant, even though it's got a case number. Like you can't like see it. It's too small on here. But like if you go to the actual exhibits, you can look up that case number in Pacer and cases will pop up, just not this one. So
yeah,
an interesting thread to pull on there is like, why did they let them? Because you can look at the full search warrant. It's one of the exhibits. And Logan Paul's lawyers said that this was uncontested. They published the whole thing in there. Not the results from it, though, just what they were asking for, obviously.
Yeah. Sounds like it's an ongoing investigation still.
Yeah, because otherwise, why wouldn't this? Then we got the SEC investigation where they subpoena Paul for information regarding Cryptozoo. So we get that in March, on March 7th. Thus, by spring 2023, Coffeezilla had received a formal request for documents from the SEC regarding 2 of Paul's cryptocurrency projects, both Dink Doink and Cryptozoo. Oh, well, there's where we get our 3 investigations. Alrighty. And so he gives the different the statements, the 3 different statements that he gave, June 29th, June 30th, and then January 5th. Oh no, these were the statements that he made in his different like videos. Yeah, at issue. Okay, yeah. On June 10th, Paul is finally deposed by the SEC. And then Paul, oh, well, that's an interesting timeline. And then 17 days later is when he filed his lawsuit against Coffeezilla.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay. And then, of course, on March 14th, the SEC declines to continue its action because the current administration is all about make crime great again, and told the SEC to stop looking into crypto stuff. But they say that the FBI continues to express interest in Paul as recently as early 2025. So that seems pretty clear that the FBI investigation is ongoing. And if that's the case, you're kind of in this weird situation. You could make the argument that, since the you're in that kind of like Schrodinger's cat thing. It is and isn't defamation until you open the box and the FBI files charges or the DOJ files charges. So you could make the argument that it's defamation, but if the FBI, sends papers over to the DOJ and the DOJ files charges, it isn't defamation anymore now, is it? You've been charged with a crime. So now given you could still be found innocent in trial and then you're back again.
Not guilty. Not innocent, but not guilty.
Yeah. But that still qualifies for defamation at that point. But that's kind of the situation here that's going on. Is it seems like this is a very much an active investigation that's going on. So why are we here? Especially when you have also the civil lawsuit for the Cryptozoo stuff that's ongoing and is currently pending a motion to dismiss. So unless we get some sort of resolution there, I don't know how you can really adjudicate the merits. I understand him filing the lawsuit maybe because the statute of limitations was about to dissipate, and at least put the lawsuit there. It can be stayed for now until we can adjudicate these other matters. But
didn't he say that he wanted to like bankrupt Coffeezilla?
Yeah, that he wanted to punish him and show other people that you don't mess with him. So that's also
so that's why we're here, because Logan Paul's a piece of shit.
Well, I mean,
that was the answer.
Yeah, that's what we found out last week.
And Coffeezilla is great, so that's why we're here. He does really good investigative,
and people really like him until they get investigated.
Right, exactly.
Another person we're going to talk about here, Andrew Tate liked him until he got investigated. Logan Paul liked him until he got investigated. That seems to be how this works. Like the scammers, it's like this sort of cult thing. They like that other people are being called out because it drives more of these gullible people they can exploit towards them and away from these other people. But when they suddenly are the one in the crosshairs, now that's not good. That's not good for business. So they are. Now we get into the actual argument that substantial overlap exists. To determine whether it exists, courts should consider factors such as the extent of the overlap, the likelihood of conflict, the comparative advantages, and the interest of each forum in resolving the dispute. Paul contends that concedes there is overlap, but argues the overlap is not significant enough to warrant transfer. The Fifth Circuit held that where two cases center on the same question of Fifth Circuit held that where two cases center on the same question, substantial overlap exists. So that's that argument, open and shut. Instead, Paul complains the elements of each of the claim in the Mullen case do not mirror the elements of the claim in this case. There's no such requirement, and Paul cites no authority to show otherwise. Whoopsies. Instead, Paul argues that the pending motion to dismiss the Mullen case makes it impossible to ascertain any overlap. But again, there is no authority to support this proposition. Paul's concerns include whether and to what extent the pending motion to dismiss in the class certification may bear on the question of whether to abate or consolidate the cases are for the Mullen court to consider after transfer. They do not bear on the question of overlap. In other words, what they're saying is, once this is moved into the court where the Mullen case is, should they merge the two cases? I don't think that'll happen, because one is an issue of securities law and defrauding customers, whereas this is a defamation case. So there's not really, I don't think, enough overlap for a consolidation, but I don't know. Maybe they will decide that. But again, their argument is that, that's for something to decide after the fact. That doesn't affect whether it should be transferred or not. That's more of that.
Wait, they're trying to transfer a venue right now, isn't it?
Yeah. Basically, because these cases are similar, that's the argument that Coffeezilla is arguing.
Are they though?
They're over the same facts. Like, is Cryptozoo a scam? Basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're saying that this should be transferred over to the same court that the Mullen case is being decided in. So that way, if there's a ruling in one, the other, there's a chance that there could be conflicting rulings because there's two different judges and two different courts deciding on the merits. This should be in the same court, being heard in front of the same judge, because it would prevent conflicts that would impede the due process of justice. One of those situations where, well, I don't like the answer mommy gave me, so I'm going to go to daddy. Or there could be just the two judges are in two different because they're in two different districts. So they probably could or could not be talking to each other regularly. And so there may be, like I said, conflicted rulings. Though the court made it, compelling circumstances exist. So they're going to, Paul's also arguing about compelling circumstances. Like there's a special reason why there should not be a transfer. Paul argues that there are significant procedural differences between the cases and the Mullen litigation, but significant procedural differences is not a compelling circumstance recognized by the Fifth Circuit or any district within the Fifth Circuit. Procedural differences are also irrelevant at this stage because the first filed court is not required to consider the case.
Consolidate
this case, into the Mullen case, but it may consider it. Paul also argues that this case has developed further than the Mullen litigation, but Paul only cites two out-of-circuit cases from the Eastern District of New York and the Northern District of California, which is not binding authority, but it is something that the court could consider and decide to take. They're just not required to listen to other district courts unless they want to. But that's the thing about federal law, unless it gets up to the higher, and even if it's like a circuit court, that's sort of kind of how weird the system is. You can have say this gets appealed up to the Fifth Circuit and the Fifth Circuit gives a ruling that other circuit courts and other district courts can take note of that, but they don't have to abide by that. It's not until we get up to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court comes down with something that all the district courts and all the circuit courts have to agree. But if there's something that's in one circuit court or one district court, the other circuit or district courts can be like, yeah, that's interesting, but we don't give a fuck. Which is what they're basically saying here. It's like the court can consider this, but it's not binding. Coffeezilla did not delay in filing his motion to transfer. This was the other argument that Logan Paul brought up, that basically we've already started discovery. We've already had basically a motion to dismiss. It was a motion on the law, so it wasn't a motion to dismiss. It was a summary judgment. And so they shouldn't be allowed to transfer now that we've already gotten this far into the litigation. Let's see here. Where was it? And they're saying that there's no bright line rule for that. In any event, Paul suggests that suggesting that Coffeezilla delayed in bringing this motion rings hollow. After the suit was filed, the court entered a scheduling order requiring parties to amend their pleadings by December 18th. By agreement of the parties, this deadline was extended to January 21st. 3 weeks after the deadline passed, Coffeezilla promptly filed his motion for judgment, which can only be brought once pleadings are closed. It would not have made sense to seek transfer while that dispositive motion was pending, because a favorable ruling would have disposed of the case entirely. So their basic argument is there was no point bringing it till now because there were other steps we had already gone through in the scheduling order. So we didn't wait any longer than normal. In fact, we took the first opportunity that it made sense to file this. So that's pretty much all of that. The most meaningful thing, of course, that came out of it is
FBI investigation.
There's an FBI investigation
ongoing.
Yeah, right now. Which is interesting. It also brings up something else that I had seen right when all of this came out. It was from a live stream. I had to go back and dig this up out of there because I'm not subscribed to this channel. But this was a very interesting one, talking with Matthew Cox, and this guy snooped out that there was an FBI investigation all the way back in, what was this, 2 years ago? So 2023, January 2023. So this was during Logan Paul's response to his video that he ended up taking down and then turning around and suing him. So he was able to, I want you to listen to the reason why he thinks that this, that there was an investigation at the time, because it makes the facts of the situation kind of line up, especially when we get to Logan Paul and his attempted reimbursement or fixing the situation.
All right.
And if you don't get sued, the very least, most likely what's happening is I think Logan Paul is probably cooperating with the authorities, or he's in what's called a pretrial intervention. Because I think if the U.S. attorney looked into this, or the FBI, or whoever's looking into it right now, and obviously somebody's looking into it. He mentioned several times that somebody's looking into this. So if they look at those texts, they know you were running the whole thing. They know you're running pump and dump. So either they're saying we won't prosecute you if you cooperate, or they're saying we're going to prosecute you, but you can do a pretrial intervention if you make it right. So you have to do one of two things: make everyone whole again, pay everybody back, or you have to make sure that this product is delivered. And that's why at the end of this, he's so positive that, it will be delivered. I'll bet. Because if it's not delivered, you're looking at a cell.
Going to prison,
right?
bud.
That's why.
Which is exactly what happened next in the timeline. After the Coffeezilla videos came out, Coffeezilla talked to the FBI. And so he's saying the FBI probably approached Logan Paul with a pretrial resolution, like, hey, make these people whole again or deliver on the product, and we won't prosecute you. And so he went through the motions of compensating people. Coffeezilla naturally thought that the compensation part was not adequate because only a couple million? I can't remember the exact number, so I don't want to say definitively. And then he burned a bunch of tokens, and then he made the promise that he was going to fix the Cryptozoo thing, which is yet to happen. And so that's probably what he did. He got so that's the other element with this whole FBI thing is the FBI still waiting to see if he's going to do more, or has the FBI determined that was enough and they're not going to prosecute him and they're just investigating these other people. But I think it's an interesting element to this that clearly the whole elements to the mystery of is the FBI involved was there the whole time, and you could have figured it out if you knew what you were looking for. I think there's a little bit more here that I wanted to go over.
Why he's positive it'll be, if I have to learn how to code myself,
spend every last dollar he's got on that.
Absolutely, because it's the only thing that makes sense. One, there's an investigation, so all this falls apart. So all this whole thing falls apart. First thing you do when you realize these guys are selling everything off, they stole millions of dollars, it's all a scam, and it doesn't work. What do? I go to my lawyer. I make at least $500,000 a month. What do I do? I go to my lawyer. Mm-hmm. Hey man, listen, this is what's going on. I'm a little freaked out. Here's what's happening. There's a guy investigating. It's here's what happened. He tells him and he says, okay, did you sell anything? And he goes, no. He goes, don't sell anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does Logan do? He says, Jeff, we can't sell anything.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to the U.S. attorney.
I didn't sell anything.
And it looks bad.
Right.
You can't dump. He's trying to say it's not a pump and dump, or I would have dumped.
Right.
Okay. Then he says, then the lawyer's going to say, let me go to the U.S. attorney. Let me tell them what's going on. Tell them you weren't a part of it. You just found out. You immediately went to them. They go to them. They then launch an investigation. They ask the FBI or someone to investigate.
Now, of course, he didn't know what we know now at that point, that Coffeezilla had already gone to the FBI. So they already had the heads up, and he couldn't say that line, but he could say that I wasn't aware that these other people were really running the pump and dump. It wasn't me. So
that doesn't happen right away. That's a year-long process, at least.
We're finding out.
So in the meantime, Logan, don't talk about it. Don't sell.
Don't do nothing.
Don't do nothing while they investigate. Now, they most likely come up with an agreement where they say, look, if they think he's involved, which there's no way they can't, they're going to say, you got two choices. Yeah. Make everybody whole or deliver on the product. Or you can sell all your stuff right now or not sell it, and we're going to arrest you. You're going to go to jail. Like, it's at least $10 million. You're going to do some time. Mm-hmm. For $10 million, you're doing some time no matter pretty much whoever you are.
Right.
So to me, that is the only scenario that really makes all of this make sense. And Don't do what every professional out there would tell you, which is take responsibility. You'll look better. Don't do that. You can't do that. You have to say it wasn't my fault. Blame it on the guys that are being investigated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Logan's being investigated, but Logan's already worked a deal to skirt that whole investigation of him being involved. I'm working with you. We're on the same team.
Yeah, he's trying to get in front of it.
Of course, but he can't. Listen, anybody would tell you your best bet is to own up to it. Because 5 years ago, Logan got into some trouble. You know this, right? 5 years ago, he's getting canceled. People hate him. Watch that video. I genuinely looked at him and thought, this is a guy who's. And so then he kind of turned around for the next few years. Then he got cocky. He probably started surrounding himself with people that are yes men. You're wonderful. You're great. Everything you do is wonderful. And
all right, so that's the end of that. I think he goes on to say something like that. You can't take admission for it because admitting guilt means you get something like the other lawsuit that he's dealing with right now, where then they can turn around and use that to sue you. So, what his basic argument is that you can't admit. Because then that opens you up to civil litigation, regardless of if the criminal stuff goes away. So I think it neatly explains everything that happened in this situation and why it happened, because it pretty much played out exactly like he said, except for the lawsuit part. I think he said in that he thought it was going to settle and something like that. That way both of them could say that they won. Which is what a lot of people do in a lawsuit situation like that. You can just settle in the back room for whatever money, and then both sides fans, since it's a quiet lawsuit, and since it doesn't have a class. Like the AMC lawsuit, we got to see what the entire terms were because it had to be public because it was a publicly traded company, and there was a class, and the class had to be able to object if they wanted to, and so the whole terms of the settlement were open. But if it's just private parties, they don't ever have to tell the terms of the settlement.
Like Ryan Cohen and Brock, or like Bed Bath & Beyond and the executives or the shipping claims or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you'll never know what the settlement was, and both sides can say, well, I mean, obviously they were the bad party. They paid us.
Mm-hmm.
So the wonderful things that happen in the legal world that are shady. Next up is a series of things. It's been a while since we've talked about our good not friend, Andrew Tate. So this one I cannot exactly confirm because I didn't listen into this hearing. I haven't listened to many hearings out of that Palm Beach court recently. I may have to catch up with it now that I've got plenty of free time to do so. But this was back on May 14th. Gadget was saying that in that hearing, which would have been the 13th, so that would have been Tuesday, said that the Tate brothers' lawyer, Joseph McBride, commented that the change in leadership in the Southern District of New York prosecutor's office said that this would likely result in the federal charges against the Tate brothers being dropped. Awesome. Great. More crime is great again. So, because we know from previous episodes that we've done talking about the Tates that there's been a lot of back channel talking between not necessarily Trump and Tate, but people representing the Tates and people connected to the Trump administration or people who are officials of these people. So they're expecting, or at least, I mean, this could be just the wishful thinking of Andrew Tate's lawyer, but they're making the argument in front of the Palm Beach County Court in Florida that we shouldn't worry about these federal charges because they're going to go away anyway, because we've made handshake deals in back rooms.
Yeah.
This also comes months after a special envoy for the Trump administration, Richard Grenell, was reported to have pursued Romanian authorities to relax Tate's travel restrictions, which is the reason why they came back here to Florida and then California. And then after in both those states, local state officials starting investigations, he bounced his way back out of the U.S., never to be heard from again. Funny that. We also got an update in the lawsuit. So a bunch of people that had been reporting on Andrew Tate, Gadget, Common Sense Skeptic, Murdered by Crowns, a couple other people were sued in Palm Beach County, Florida for defamation. They're basically asking, it's a give, send, go, asking for money for legal fees. I'm sure they will need lawyers to make this go away. But I think for like 90% of these people, it's going to be, I don't live in Florida. A Florida court doesn't have jurisdiction over me. Fuck off. I mean, I don't know how many gadget videos you've listened to, but the guy has an obvious British accent. I don't think a state court in Florida has jurisdiction over him. Just saying. I don't know where Common Sense Skeptic is from, or some of these other people, because they have mostly anonymous accounts. But I'm sure that we're going to be seeing some pre-action discovery to try and go after some of these people's Twitter's accounts to reveal who these people are. So yeah. In fact, I'm surprised we haven't seen that leading up, that they just filed these and just, but I mean, I don't think they have, like I said, most of these people don't live in Florida, so there's no reason that a Florida court would have jurisdiction. I don't think it's that they expect to win. It's more that they just want to waste people's time and money having to deal with it. Like what happened with Coffeezilla getting sued by Fingermotion. Like there was no way they're going to be able to pull him into a U.S. federal court. He's not even a U.S. citizen. So it's just about fucking with them.
Mm-hmm. Also, hello, Cracks, and hello, Manuel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cracks was a while back. I did see it. I am notoriously bad at keeping up with the chat.
And I am notoriously good at keeping up with the chat. So
See, that's why we're a team. This one was one that I think all of us saw. Like you mentioned it, and I said, "Yeah, I saw it." And then Amy,
my God, yes,
came out with it.
Yeah, so bad, so stupid.
I can't believe this. Like it's
God.
so obvious they were never going to go to Dubai, because that's where they were trying to flee to the first time before they got restricted. So because there's no extradition treaty that they with Romania over there. So like at first glance already, I was sitting there going, Dubai. Like that should have been your first fucking hint that this is not going to happen. So he gives us a nice thread. They had some promotional posts from the daddy coin. It's daddy. Oh my God, that ass.
So stupid. I know, right? It's just so cringe. All of it. All everywhere.
The opportunity to meet Top G.
This is like the same thing that Trump is doing.
Well, yeah, we're going to get to that in a second, because I think that's entirely what this was like them saying, well, it worked for Trump. Clearly, we can get some mooks to buy our bullshit fucking crypto coin if we just promise to meet them for money and all that stuff. Daddy's didn't. Oh, my goodness, there's a URL. Oh, my what? Oh, rubbing my axe coming in. Let me go look this up.
Daddy'sdinner.com. Oh lordy.
Oh my God.
Hope you have a VPN going.
Oh my God, this is a real thing. Oh my God.
Oh, so stupid. Oh my God.
Are you serious? Oh my goodness. With the old I'm keeping one of these as my screensaver. Just for the lulz. Enjoy a night. Like all of them with just him.
Wait, let's see. Wait, is there a menu though? What? Go to Feast Like a King. Let's see what happens there. Yeah. Let's see if there's a menu. I want to see what the food is about.
They just highlight.
What? This is so dumb.
Okay, first of all, like this has to be some like personal fetish here. Him nude and like topless in the middle.
Why is the world like his
people smoking around him?
Happening?
Like frequently asked questions. How do I know my ranking? You can check.
No, I want to know the food. What's the food? Oh my God. No mention of the menu.
What's the date and location? Wednesday, May 14th. At a luxury restaurant. We don't even get to know what luxury restaurant.
At a luxury
Again, another
restaurant.
tip that this is fucking bullshit. What
luxury food? That's a menu. Luxury drinks. Totally.
I'm having trouble connecting my wallet. What should I do? Yeah, because he's been dumped from so many platforms, because everyone knows Oh, it was the first picture. Okay.
It was in the first
That shows
picture.
how
Oh,
dumb.
click it. Quick.
That- No, I
I'm
think
very
it was
interested.
on the he was talking about in the no, I was in the first picture. Where? Register? Leaderboard. Okay, that gives us
No, that's not it.
Okay, register.
All right.
Event date, location, top 20 holders. What's register? Oh, you gotta connect your
Oh,
wallet.
fuck that. All right, go down though. You really can't click on those pictures?
Daddy dinner. No, you
No,
can't.
go up. You can't.
No, like, I'm trying to click
Oh,
on them right now. There's no clicking on these pictures.
This is terrible.
It is a
Access
terrible
the menu.
website.
Help. Well, what was the menu? They didn't even plan the menu. This was 3 days ago.
Yeah, it was clearly grip. There was no menu. Let's see.
But
here.
isn't Trump doing the same thing, like some sort of dinner for the top
Yes,
holders?
we will get to that when we get to the like non-meme stock stories. Which
I
we
mean,
got the
that
meme
is
stock after this.
the meme
but-
coin. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's even more than the whole dinner thing, but we'll get to that. Top 20 holders in balance will be able to attend the dinner that does
All right,
not
go down
exist.
more. Let's see resources. FAQ maybe?
Oh, that just takes us back.
All right, fuck it. There was no.
This is
chance
like
of ever
someone made this website on fucking Squarespace in like 5 seconds. That's
Yeah.
really what this is. Oh my goodness! But thank you for that, rubbing my axe. That was fucking dumb. Oh well, there's the. Oh, I now know how it was found because there's the stupid fucking. Oh my god!
So stupid.
I.
No, really though. Why is the globe his like right tit? Why?
So we get the pump here, and then we even got a second run up, and then.
I think the same thing happened with Trump coin too. Like it got a little pump after they announced the dinner. Like, is this just a straight up copy of that?
Pretty much. Let the damage control begin. The lead developer of Daddy says the dinner will go on and apologizes for the delay.
It said the cooker. What?
The dinner will go on, my friends. Going to send out invites shortly, and we'll make a small group chat. Apologies for the delay. This guy looks as much of a douche as I imagined. Well,
That's
now
is he
you
the cooker?
sue for fraud.
What is he cooking? Meth? Like what?
I mean, that's a possibility. Yeah. So yet another Andrew Tate rug pull.
Disappointment.
Congratulations.
As usual. Oh, I'm
But
still.
we're not done with the
listening to that audiobook.
scams.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
So he posted in the remember the university, the like knockoff Discord that we
Yeah.
that if you join the council, which if you recall is like $2,000, you can get join the council and then you can get a free lifetime membership to his knockoff Discord server. Why you'd want that, I don't know. Yeah, I would agree with that. He's needing a new influx of cash to pay for his legal bills. Hopefully that means that this is starting to come to a point where we won't be having to deal with it because the money's running dry and he's about to go to prison, which win-win for society. We also had the one big thing that I saw. Hey, you know what makes you look like a badass? How about taking on 60 of your tomato can fans who've never done MMA in their fucking life and then pretending like that's some huge ass fucking achievement? No, it's just super fucking cringe. In fact, I lost where it was, but there was a video that came out from this, not the selected clips here, where he took on someone in this group of 60 that was actually had some MMA training who landed a couple good licks on him. I bet that didn't get to the final footage because it probably looked hella embarrassing.
I wonder what would happen. Like, what if a woman wanted to like join his stupid club and go and like fight him?
From our previous episodes, that there's at least some that are there on the Discord server. They must really hate themselves, but
yeah, seriously, they must hate everything about themselves.
But yeah, that is Andrew Tate, the first time in a long time that we've gotten him, because I need to get back to following the lawsuit, but there there hasn't been like those have moved at a reasonable pace, whereas some of these lawsuits that we follow, it's like bam, 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 bam. And so there's not a whole lot to talk about when it comes to Mr. Tate. Hopefully a lot less to talk about because he'll be in prison shortly, but you know.
Probably get pardoned.
He'll get pardoned. Well, I mean, isn't the one guy who won the election before they decided to redo it because of election interference in Romania was like a nationalist that was kind of pro Tate? So I mean, yeah, that's a distinct possibility. In which case, I guess extradition to the UK it is. And we'll see how that one goes. Because there's like a list. There's like a waiting queue. Of countries who gets to send Andrew Tate to prison next? And we've got 2 state-level investigations and 1 federal in the United States. So it's just like first in the queue, Romania, second in the queue, UK. Then the federal investigation and 2 state-level investigations. Congratulations, dude. You're a piece of shit and everyone knows it now, if they haven't already. Unfortunately, there are people that are still discovering it. I don't know how.
I mean, if they couldn't tell by the like world right tit.
The Matrix is just out to get him. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We're off from our opening stories onto the world of meme stocks. This isn't so much a meme stock.
Right where we belong.
Right back where we belong. We're used to this place. It's very comfortable. This isn't so much a meme stock thing as it is yet another Bitcoin fucking treasury grift.
Oh my God. Yeah. Jesus. Like, how many can there be until
Genius Group,
Cooler is doing it. GameStop is doing it. Like, oh man, everyone's doing it.
And now Basel Medical Group, BMGL, has acquired $1 billion worth of Bitcoin.
Damn.
That's not a whole lot, is it? I mean,
it's
monetarily,
kind of a lot.
in number of Bitcoins. But if you're a medical research group, shouldn't you be using that money for research?
What are you doing?
Putting it into like, it just like this just confirms to me at this point that Bitcoin is just a Ponzi scheme. In order for Bitcoin to keep going up in value, they got to keep fucking pumping money into it. It's just like, at one point, I could understand if I had disagreed with the purpose of Bitcoin. Now it's just scamming people.
Wait, did they just IPO?
Yes. Very recent.
Oh, shit.
Because I saw that when I was checking it, and I was like,
they don't even have like quarterly financials yet.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because if you do go to it, it's like been out for like only what? A month? 2 months?
Damn. Well, I just went to like macro trends to see like, how much money they're losing every year.
So like, let's replace
and they have nothing yet so far for any.
So yeah, like here it is on. This is the daily chart.
Wow.
And you have a daily chart that's small. Like, was this maybe a SPAC? Like, no, because you would have had the tail end of the SPAC. So no.
Yeah, it's just IPO.
And IPO went straight into grifting. Amazing.
Like,
at least they're getting really efficient at it.
Yeah, good job. Congrats.
I don't know what to feel anymore. I don't think I feel anything anymore at this point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin
solves this, Gorax, okay?
Bitcoin solves this. It makes crime more expedient. It makes defrauding investors more expedient. Bitcoin is the answer in that case, I guess. Also, funny things happen when you don't have people botting your account. Only 2,000.
Or when you're not giving away like a couple $100 a year.
Yeah, like clearly. You really see how many people actually care about.
Jesus Christ, look at you.
That was the part that was the funniest about it. It's just like,
I love the helicopter emojis. That's awesome.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny when like last week we talked about the community that follows the Fannie and Freddie going back out of conservatorship laughing at him and finding him to be a complete joke. And clearly the rest of the internet is in agreement. I mean, you only have 2,700 followers. I mean, how many do you have, Platinum? You got more than Pulte, you know?
Oh, I have more than, well, but I mean, I've been on Twitter since like 2021.
That's
so.
But you're also not a government official.
Also not a government official for sure.
So, I mean,
Definitely
whichever
not.
way you want to slice that.
And also not giving away like hundreds of bucks
Boatloads
a
of
year either. So.
What I think is really interesting here is I thought, and maybe you can talk about the evolution of this. I thought we were past the point in GameStop where people were looking at the disclosure statements from.
It's only that one.
makers.
It's only
It's
that
only
guy.
him?
Everyone
Okay.
else is much, much more advanced. I would like to.
Some people don't advance beyond
This
to
guy is like, I don't know where this.
There's some
came
people
from.
who've gone on to do the basic mathematics. There's some people still stuck in kindergarten because they cannot color in the lines.
No, like he's like a newish account. I feel like I feel like he kind of popped up like when GME went on their run last year, like in May, basically, is kind of when he sort of this weird account kind of popped up out of nowhere.
Joined March 2023, so I mean fairly new, but not super new.
And he's one of the only people that are just so dumb and like literally reports every time an ETF buys GME, like as if it's
They're
some
just
sort of,
yeah,
like they're
part of
like
their,
making a decision about it. It's like, dude, stop it.
like I saw that post. It's like, did we teleport back to January 2021 and nobody told us?
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Because if I can shave 4 years off by going backwards in time, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, we all have to learn at some point, right? Like, I thought it was, some sort of thing back in the day, but then you realize, oh, okay, it's just ETFs and they have to,
they have to
balance
keep
their
a certain percent, in their ETF funds to keep
It's
it.
not really a big deal, and it's not like they're, making a single decision on that. Like they just have a retail ETF going on. It's really who cares?
Yeah. Now we get to go into this silly.
Why, Doug deleted his account probably because he bought so much GME.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Doug stuff is coming up because there's a lot of stuff in that. I don't know. Did I put that with the meme stock stuff or did I put that with the?
Oh, it should be.
Yeah, I did because I was contemplating serious stuff, but since you brought it up, let's go straight to that. We'll go out of order a little bit here, and talk about it. So, what did we learn?
That title is so funny.
We learned that if you're not part of the Trump administration, you do not get to crack wise about stuff that could affect. If you're an NHL owner, even a minor owner, and a good chunk of the income comes from Canada, you do not get to crack wise about Canada being the 51st state.
Well, not only that, but when you're on Twitter, don't let the trolls get to you.
You do not feed the trolls. Like this is the thing that's like, I remember like I think it was a discussion with Amy or someone. It's just like, Doug is a nice guy, but he's also a boomer and does not understand internet culture stuff. And so don't feed the trolls.
Like he kind of did though. Like I felt like it was like kind of fun to see Doug around, honestly. Like even no matter what I think about virtue or whatever else, it was definitely fun to see him like comment on different things and different things.
Like he gets I'm not saying that he doesn't get down into the social media culture, but I mean like basic fundamental stuff like don't feed the trolls.
But a lot of people don't feed the trolls. You know what I mean? Like you need like a certain, I don't know, just don't do it, you guys. Like it's just never.
Yeah. It feels literally much like the Brandon Jones situation. It's like, why are you doing that, bro? Like I get it, like okay, but also at the same time, it's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
And so yeah, he
or like, and he's like doing it on his own account. You know what I mean? Like create an alt or something.
Yeah. Well, as you know, we are his alt accounts.
Oh, true. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
everybody.
We're live here on the screen, but we're Doug alts whenever it's convenient for people to just call us that. But it's
Maybe he'll be back. We'll see.
yeah. I don't. I think I don't think he will be. Like, notice that what he was saying. Like he's gotten in trouble before, and he's also gotten media headlines before from the last incident, but nothing happened. The only time anything happened was when it affected the bottom line of insert, and in this case, NHL. So like, you may be right. He may be back because like, you know, he's always going to have some significant influence.
Because and also everyone's attention is just like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like in a week, everyone will just forget. But and you have like 30 days when you delete your account to come back. So
yeah, he just or he may just stay away because he realizes that, you know, I don't want to just deal with this dumb shit, which I've had those moments too.
For sure.
Just on for months. Of course, though, it can't be that Doug left because he got because he said something stupid on the internet, which we all do. A bunch of people were saying that it was clearly because of Virtue and the naked shorting and all that shit. Then we also had dumbasses who were trying to like, oh, send stuff to the NHL. Look, dude, they already indefinitely suspended him. No one, like literally no one there cares about your baggy messages.
Right. They don't give a single shit about Virtue. Why would they? They don't even know anything about Virtue. Why would they care?
Well, and this reminds me of the AMC lawsuit where, you know, when they were trying to discuss the settlement where that like they started sending letters to Delaware Court of Chancery. It's like, no one fucking cares. Like, you can send all the letters you want. It doesn't matter. They'll rule on the law. The fact that 1,000 people send their poor, pitiful me, dear John letters to the court, it doesn't fucking matter. Speaking of, like, then we have absolute grifters grifting, where Dave Lauer does the same thing that AMC Bigums does. And it's like, ooh, well, we'll send all this stuff. Give me all the dirt you got so we can send it to the NHL, which I remind you at this time had already indefinitely suspended him. David, Mr. Lauer, is continuing to prove himself to be the biggest bellend. Like he's trying to, on this post, I mentioned that my tinfoil theory is Dave is trying to be the new Pulte, where he's getting involved in the community in order to self-promote himself to a certain extent, because just
no, I think he has like some sort of beef with Doug. Something. Because I think
it sure seemed like that from the interactions they've had.
Yeah, exactly. Like they had some sort of like personal, like, well, not personal, but like professional beef, right? Like where, you know, Doug like shooed him away or whatever for $10,000 and blah, blah, blah. Right. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
So I think they have some sort of thing going on. But yeah, I don't understand like why, who cares? And the HL doesn't care about who he attacked online.
Yeah. Then, of course, we got George jumping in.
Oh, my God.
Which led to an entirely interesting episode from Jeff Davies from their DM conversations.
Oh, yeah, you did see them. That's right. Yeah.
I did have them here. Where'd they go? Oh, here they are. They just got moved down on. So we have those receipts. My short experience with oil and gas is that it's like gambling.
It's like gambling. He has an accent here.
Okay, well, I'll let you
$20. 20 is a low number. No, I can't do his accent though. You can go.
Yeah, people who suggest it's science, I call BS. It's at best indicators, not proof that the assets will produce, unless you're some Arab country and the oil is just coming out freely from the ground. I don't know what attracts you to this business. I didn't know this. Do you have any info?
Well, Jeff said, surely you know that Oro Grande was fraudulently conveyed from Arabella Petroleum, run by Greg's longtime friend Jason Hoysiger, and that a bankruptcy court caught him and made him pay $2 million in 2017 for an asset he has paid $0 for before that. And somehow Pelicaris did not know this. Like, great
This seems like basic DD that should have been done by the company beforehand.
Yeah, yeah. But they're the 51st state, so they don't really pay attention up there.
Told a friend of mine believed that the MAT deal was announced to buy Torch stock and that a deal was coming that would make it move higher. Wonder who gave him that. Thank you for this information. I can now add him to the list if I get Discovery. We got the settlement something down here. I was paid 2 people. I was shocked. I assure you, I've never been short, never worked with the shorts. Like I told you, when Berta sent people to my house, I had a grudge. I can believe that. I would probably react worse. Oh. Interesting.
Worse in what way, Georgie?
Yeah. So that's the short story of don't call Canada the 51st state if you're an NHL owner.
Okay. Thank you for the advice. Writing it down.
But yeah, it was a dumb episode that got made out to more than it ever was, and
I mean, I was kind of shocked that he even said what he said. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
He was like, eat shit.
and they know that it's like you said, it was a troll. It's been a hot the whole thing
such an obvious troll too, though.
It felt like someone going out of their way to prod him because they knew they would get a reaction, and they succeeded.
Right? Yeah, that's what people want. They want you to be pissed off, and that's what it got. So.
Yeah. So we have a quick update in one lawsuit and a funny update in another lawsuit. Are you ready for this?
Maybe.
Oh, shoot. I accidentally closed out the one that had so we'll have to pull up the screen sharing. So last time we talked about the Nelson Willis case.
Oh, God.
Adam Aaron got out his response to the appellate brief, was his own brief. We didn't go over that because it was the same stuff in the lower court. That was dead obvious, and we know that this appeal is going to fail. But there was a shotgun of bullshit filings from Ethan's boy Nelson, and at the same time, Adam Aaron filed his opposition to it. But before he could even get it out, the court was like, "No, I got you, bro. It's ordered that the appellate motion to correct the docket, misclassified and restored individual motion filings buried in the docket entry at DI 57 is denied."
Wow.
Good.
Well done.
Just before it even came out, what was Adam Aaron's one? Because it may have been for the different thing here. Oh no, this was over different stuff. He filed for a motion for summary judgment. Adam Aaron's lawyers are really great at filings where it's like, we object to this because they need to preserve it, but we don't think this merits an actual response. Where it's like, defendant appellee Adam Aaron respectively opposes the relief sought by plaintiff appellant Nelson Willis in the following motions. Corrected motion for summary judgment. You don't get summary judgment in appellate court. That's a judgment. That's trial court. That's the circuit court. This is appellate court. Sorry, that don't work like that. And motion to strike appellate's brief, where they tried to strike his brief before it was even fucking filed.
Wow.
No additional response will be submitted by defendant appellee Adam M. Aaron unless specifically requested by the court. So basically, this is all bullshit. We're not going to waste our time with it because we don't think the court will. But in case, give us a ring.
Mm-hmm.
Which stuff that the lawyers were doing in the trial court. I like it because it's basically this loser isn't worth our time, but we technically have to respond. So here's our 2-sentence response. Call us if you need more. I'm not going to waste my client's money nor my time with anything further. Then we get the real fun, which is an update. And the Ethan Leibovitz, our favorite sob sit loser from New York, in his case against anyone in the DA's office in Queens County and the court lawyer and the court officer staff. So if you remember last time, he he had filed for his first motion for sanctions. Those were denied. So he filed for a second motion for sanctions, and that's what we're talking about here. And while we were waiting on this second motion for sanctions, he then filed, which I believe we went over the opposition. It's kind of the same stuff, so not too much there. And an affidavit where basically Assistant District Attorney Berg had been asking him about the hearing, about the recording that he made of him getting arrested, and they were carrying him off to the precinct, and he was asking him for additional information, which Ethan wouldn't give him. So then he responds with his opposition and the email exchange, to which Ethan then finally gets around with giving him the information he wanted, as if it's some gotcha, like, see, you were lying this whole time. And it's just like, oh God, this is such fucking Ethan bullshit. Like, And then he asked for a hearing. I don't know why any judge would want to willfully be in a hearing with Ethan, but I digress. And then said that he will be soon filing a third motion for sanctions. Let's find out how that goes for him. Again, as you can tell, I was doing some light reading beforehand. Some people already know how this one goes. So this is United States Magistrate Judge Bloom. Plaintiff brings this pro se litigation. Plaintiff moves for an evidentiary hearing to address his motion for sanctions for the following reasons: plaintiff and for the sanctions themselves, for false and misleading letter in response to the court's December 19th Valentine order. Valentine order, for people who are not aware, is basically, hi, I'm a pro se litigant and I don't have the resources to properly identify people that are part of my case or John Doe's. So I can compel the state, if I'm suing the state, I can compel the state to be like, identify these people for me. They are state officials, identify them. And it's in the court's discretion to decide that, yes, since they are a pro se litigant, you are required to you are required to identify John Doe defendants and give reasonable ability for the plaintiff to communicate to pursue litigation against John Doe's. For the following reasons, plaintiff's motion is denied. Normally we get the nice, background history here as to what's been going on in the case, so that way you have the background as to what's going on. You can tell that Judge Bloom really just doesn't fucking have time for this shit, because she condensed it into 4 footnotes on the same page. It's like, I don't want to give a summary. We know why we're here. So we get the standard of review again for Rule 11 motions. That Rule 11 applies to both attorneys and pro se litigants guarding against frivolous, vexatious, or scurrilous lawsuits. A party can move for Rule 11 sanctions if a pleading is presented for an improper purpose, not warranted by existing law, or lacking evidentiary support. We also get this wonderful footnote number 5, which is, the clerk of the court is respectfully directed to send plaintiff the attached copies of the unreported cited cases herein, because, he probably doesn't have a LexisNexis or something like that. So he wouldn't be able to see the slip ops potentially. And so they're like, I want to be sure that he sees these opinions, because clearly he doesn't understand what he's doing. So I want to make extra sure that he knows what's going on here. Plaintiff seeks Rule 11 sanctions against Berg for false and misleading letter to the court on January 29th. However, the record before the court does not reflect that AAG Berg made any misrepresentations to the court. We'll go over that. We'll skip over that, because the main part here, where the real fire comes down from the judge, is in the conclusion. Conclusion. Plaintiff's second motion for sanctions and plaintiff's motions for an evidentiary hearing are denied. Plaintiff's motion for sanctions itself abuses the judicial process. Rule 11 is not a toy, and Rule 11 motions it is not well grounded in fact or law, or is filed for an improper purpose, may itself lead to sanctions. Plaintiff is explicitly warned against filing any further sanctions motions in this litigation. See footnote 8 here. Plaintiff states that he intends to file a third motion for sanctions relating to defendant's motion to dismiss, which argues that defendant has probable cause to arrest plaintiff. Plaintiff appears to question whether AAG Berg adequately investigated defendant's probable cause assertions. This is not a proper basis for filing sanctions. Let's see, where were we? If he does, he instead may be subject to sanctions, including dismissal of his case. The court may also restrict his ability to file in any future case. Well, hopefully he doesn't file that third case of sanctions, or he won't be filing any fucking AMC lawsuits. Lol. Permitting courts to restrict future access to the courts for a litigant who has a history of vexatious litigation and is likely to continue to abuse the judicial process and harass other parties. Oh, better not call him a harasser. He'll ask you what the elements of fucking harassment are. A court has discretion to dismiss an action with prejudice as sanctions pursuant to Rule 11. Plaintiff should focus on the merits of his case, including, if he wishes to do so, seeking to have to amend his complaint to name the additional officers who AAG Berg identified as defendants. The clerk of the court is respectfully directed to mail a copy of this order to the plaintiff. It is so ordered. Fun times. So,
So, yeah, we should encourage him to definitely file that motion.
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't need to encourage him. I think he'll file
right?
it.
Please give me a break. He's already on there. He's like typing it up right now.
Yeah.
What are the elements of harassment?
Yeah, I had some fun. He went strangely quiet on Twitter after this ruling.
Oh, weird. He's too busy filing the motion, probably.
Yeah, I know, right? He must be super busy with his new filing. I mean, the court asked him, you might want to proceed with your case. So clearly it isn't that he's a bitch. He's just working really hard on that filing.
Mm-hmm.
Not the only thing that we're going to deal with Ethan here, though, because if you remember, about this time last month, he was saying that someone in Congress, he wouldn't specify who or that win or whoever. Yeah, that there was someone in Congress that were going to talk about the AMC stuff. Still haven't heard anything about that, but we did get a new video from him where he was basically, let me see if I can find it here. Get rid of this. And then, where he was basically asking for his citizens grand jury thing. And if I remember correctly in the pre-show, you do not remember the citizens grand jury.
And you were going to tell me, and I was just like, just wait.
Just wait, yeah. In Kansas and several other states, there is something called the citizens grand jury. Some people who don't really like these basically call them legalized lynch mobs because, it's not an inaccurate way to conceptualize them. But basically, I believe in Kansas, it's 5% of if you get enough signatures for that constitutes 5% of the voters in that county, you can submit with a petition like you normally would for any charges to the DA of that county with those signatures. And when they are confirmed, you basically force the district attorney to open a grand jury to try and charge the people with the crimes in the petition.
Do you have to live in that county?
I don't know. I would think so.
Or that county just has to be the jurisdiction, or?
That county for sure has to be the jurisdiction. I don't know if they need to live there. You would think that would be a prerequisite that they have to live there. But the thing I've always laughed about, Johnson County is like top 5 largest counties in the state of Kansas. If you think you're going to find 5% of people who have a jar full of baggy tears for you, best of luck to you. And I remember last time they didn't even break 100 signatures, and most of them they said they got from the college campus. I'm gonna let you a little thing. That college campus is on the Missouri side. So chances are those people don't even live in the county, so they wouldn't count towards your petition vote. And number 2, it's a college campus. They could be from a different state for which they have residence. It's
Wow.
Anyway, so that was his most recent distraction from that. Was he posted a video basically going over them trying to do their grand jury petition thing again. At least he's dropped the citizens arrest. Oh, he gives us a nice list of states that have it: Kansas, New Mexico, North Dakota, Nebraska, Nevada, and Oklahoma.
And that's it?
Well, I'm pretty sure there's more, but those are the 6 states he found. And so he basically is asking for people to go get signatures, because why would he ever do that legwork? He's got things to do that's more important, right?
Yeah, like harassing people on the phone while I watch it.
Do you know the elements of harassment?
Mm-hmm. We know it.
We'll be getting back to Ethan and his elements of harassment and other things when we get to the more important stuff, because he'll be an example for discussing that. Someone who thinks he knows the law but actually doesn't. We also have one other interesting thing that came up. I'm just going to pull up the tweet because I went to the article and I couldn't archive today my way around it. So we'll just go with the tweet because it has the screen cap. Tony pointing out that what I had I discussed with him was the likely outcome of that lawsuit, and we both kind of agreed with it, that and we got more people as the date comes for that motion to dismiss that are talking settlement, because I bet you 100% that no one wins if AMC goes to bankruptcy. No one wins, not even the debt holders. So if they can get some sort of settlement, I bet you settlement is going to be the answer to this situation, as it normally is. But we still got the hearing on the motion to dismiss. And the closer that day comes, I think the more we're going to hear talks about possible settlement. And depending on how that hearing goes or what the ruling goes, you're going to, if it goes obviously in favor of the lenders, I don't think it's going to trial. I think it's just going to add more leverage against AMC. And obviously if it gets dismissed, well, then AMC gets out of it. I don't see them getting out of it, at least from the way that was structured. It was pretty clear that the intent was to rug the first lien debt holders. So, I mean,
yeah,
I do see a settlement though. And it becomes exponentially more likely once we get to pass the motion to dismiss, and it becomes clear that this is going to probably proceed further, which will put pressure on AMC to accept terms that would be less favorable. But yeah, I think settlement is where that ends. We also have an update in the Genius Group case. The whole situation with it has been appealed up to the Second Circuit. Do you want to guess who's representing Genius Group on appeal?
Oh, actually, I already know the answer because I saw it.
Because it's super obvious. Of course it's Mark.
Yep.
Why did it?
Oh dear, it's going crazy.
That's what I was looking for. I was looking for magnifying it. So all I pulled this up for is because there's a briefing schedule that they've agreed to, so we know how long this is going to take. We're going to be stuck with this at least till September. Well, past September, because after we get it fully briefed, then the court has to decide. But so that lawsuit's going nowhere fast. I just found it highly amusing that was Mark Bazile was the one that was. There's no escaping Mark.
I know, right?
The next thing on our to-do list is we have a few Mullen things to go over. An absent 10Q filing for Mullen, which...
Oh, yeah. Did you see Nextbridge also has a...
No. Do you have anything on that other than...
Oh, they just filed. They're going to be late with their 10Q. Like, they already filed. They're going to be late with the 10K. Have not come out with the 10K yet. And then came out with we're going to be late with our 10Q. That's
Oh
it.
my goodness.
Yeah, right. Not great.
Well, have they ever been on time with their filings?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, they were basically. I mean, they were up to date pretty much until the 10K.
Because I know a couple times they've asked for extensions. I want to.
Yeah,
say.
they were like a little late, whatever, but they ended up, coming through, and surprisingly, right? Like I didn't even think they were gonna end up filing anything, and then there they are. Now, I'm at it again, where I don't think they're gonna file anything ever again, but we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise
because
us
they're
all.
really close to bankruptcy, pretty much, right?
I mean, yeah, like they have way more liabilities than assets, so yeah.
And also, we've got the possibility that because the bankruptcy court can, the trustee for the
or going after Greg McCabe,
going after them, yeah,
right? Not after like Nextbridge, but I mean, Nextbridge is basically Greg McCabe, so
yeah.
They go after Greg. They literally are going after Nextbridge, so yeah, we'll see. Oh my god. I think so.
Maybe. Oh my goodness. So we also got that. Well, we figured out how they're going to try and pay GEM Global Yield Bahamas Limited with their shitty assets from what's the Mishawaka assets anyway? Is that I'm not super familiar with the Mullen storyline on that.
I have no idea.
But so basically,
and then Bollinger has a receiver, I think now too.
Yeah, and that receiver has also gotten its own legal representation for the further proceedings. So that will be fun. See how that goes. But so we have from May 9th. We have a 55-day due diligence period, which can be extended at the discretion of GEM. So Bollinger has been taken away from them in through receivership. They're going to be giving away the Mishawaka assets. Like, what other assets does Mullen have at that point other than stealing money from its shareholders?
It's all they got.
So that was a joke I think someone made, is that even though these assets are going away, they still haven't taken away the core business of Mullen.
True. I mean, as long as they are still trading, they can still, hose shareholders forever.
As long as they've got, scam investor pumping their stock. Pretty sure he's the only one that talks about Mullen now.
No, Travis from Bed Bath & Beyond is trying to tell people
that because of the
everyone should buy
wait
one.
To see how that blows up
before the next reverse split and see what happens. Is there another reverse split already scheduled?
Yep, that's the reason why they're testing out this whole thing.
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
I told him. I mean, I hope he gets that $1.
This is the third reverse split this year. The fifth in. Wait, no, 6 or 7? No, 6 or 7. 7?
Yeah, it's hard to keep track.
There's just so many.
There are so many.
It's like, why are you buying the shitco?
I thought there was going to be some sort of, reverse arbitrage shitco edition, where if you bought one at 20 cents, you'd end up with one at $1, right? Like, it's not what happened.
It happened once,
for 20 cents.
After that, it stopped happening. I think.
Yeah, so the one I did was the one in February. So it wasn't even the last reverse split. It was the one before that. And I bought one share, and then they just took it away from my account forever. Haven't seen it since. Whatever.
I think they realized once that loophole became popular that it would reduce their dilutive potential after the reverse split. Not that it matters, because I'm pretty sure they're authorized for a fuck ton of shares.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by the time it goes through, there's already like so many more shares anyways. What difference does it make?
Well, and like that's what we were talking about last week when, the whole Travis is like, oh, they were arguing over how many shares were issued. And it was like, by the time that at the end of the week, 17 million, they gone from 10 million to 17 million. And by Monday of the next week, they were up to like, what was it, 26 million? It's like
Jesus. Yeah.
Speaking of shitcos.
Oh my God.
With the finger shit. Motion. Yeah, they got some finger motion going on. All right.
Oh my God. Did you see they had like a fake article?
Yes, that's exactly what we're getting to. So
Okay.
there was the fake article made
Yeah,
by
this is the one.
Champion. No, it wasn't him. He was just reproducing it from somewhere.
Yeah,
else.
well, where did he reproduce it from? Because as far as I can
don't have
see,
a citation to that because
right,
no.
he's the only one who posted it.
Oh,
So
okay.
who?
Not the guy in the retweet was it? So yeah, he just
Yeah, no, who made
no
this?
link, nothing. AI generated slop.
It's all fake.
Yeah, which is funny because this guy is obviously an MMTLP schmuck who faked that group faked fucking Texas Railroad Commission.
Yeah, it's given huge sea plant vibes for sure. Like everything about that is fake. Like go back to the tweet that he's quote tweeting.
Yeah. Nope.
So, okay, the entering the U.S. market, fake, right? If you look at their last annual report, it doesn't say anything about them entering the U.S. market, from what I could find. J&M Financial
about them supposedly teaming up with, was it Amazon or something like that, which is also not in their
annual report whatsoever. J&M Financial upgrading them from hold to buy is absolutely false. They only have one analyst that's ever reported on them, and that was in 2023. J&M Financial is like an India company that has never analyzed the company whatsoever before. What else? I mean, it's like all fake. Like, how are you gonna? Oh yeah, if you try to look up
39% revenue growth year over year.
Well, if you look up the title to this article, you get nothing. Like if you put it into quotes, so you can look it up.
Not anywhere in the feed. Like if you go to, if you say you go to something like Weeble or something like that, like where? Show me where on the doll it is in the news feed.
It's nowhere. You can go to Google and all of Google.
Like we do have this other article that we're going to talk about. This was the one that right here where Venn Capital pointed out, oh, you mean this group here that lets you basically pay for your stupid fucking presser release articles? It's basically Newswire, PR Newswire or whatever kind of thing where you can put whatever you want to out there and they'll publish it.
Right, but it's not even anywhere. That article is nowhere.
So the only accurate thing in this is based on Q3. We still haven't gotten Q4 reports. Someone can maybe identify those. But yeah, those Q4
for 2024?
That's factual.
Do you mean for 2024? Because their annual report is already out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's out already.
Okay. So, wait, do you have that?
Well, go back to the tweet. And then look at the replies because I replied to it. Yeah, no, not that one. Go to the original.
Oh, whoops.
Yep, the fake one. Yeah, that. And then go to the replies. Yep, right there.
There we go.
Yeah, that's your annual report. So fuck you, motherfucker. I come with receipts.
That's kind of budget. Here we go. We got a. Where's the link clicky thing that takes us to your financials, bro? What is all? Oh, here we are. Balance sheet. Why can I not click on the linky? What is going on here?
Well, what do you want to see?
Here we are. Well, I'll just scroll down.
Oh, okay.
Well, there is a bonus to this. They do have shareholder equity. That's at least a start, I guess. Wow. You never know with some of these companies.
So they buy minutes and data and then resell it basically to people. And then they say that they get rebates or something from the cell phone companies in China.
Well, whatever they're doing...
Crocs is saying there needs to be more chat participation since Doug had to deactivate. Shills are getting too lazy. And
I agree with that.
I mean, Amy's not even here. Talk about lazy.
Joey's been missing. Now Amy. It's getting slipshot, guys.
Chills and shambles.
Exactly. What is with this? So they get a rebate for reselling minutes.
Yeah.
But like, if that's the case, why is there a cost of rep? Okay, because they probably have to purchase it and then resell it. But like the margin on that, even on a cost of revenue basis, that is. You guys probably can't see that. Let me zoom it in here.
So they spent last year. Look. For consultants, right? They spent almost $2 million on consultants. They spent over $2 million on salaries.
Where is stock compensation, marketing costs? I mean, it could be under the marketing costs. General administrative examination, interest expense, exchange rate gain, foreign currency. Yeah, well, I guess they don't have it here unless it's broken down somewhere.
It is broken down, yeah. It's not there. Keep going. No.
Operating results. Mobile expenses. Kind of curious as to like revenue, equipment. So basically, they're just a middleman for data minutes. It sounds like 2008, like when you used to have like minutes from your cell phone provider, but now everyone has an everything data plan now and stuff like that. It's just so weird. Like 2005 called and it wants its cell network system.
Well, maybe they, do things different in China, right?
I guess, maybe. Yeah, I'm not seeing it in here. It's all the directors. But anyway, yeah. So if anyone finds this article, which I doubt it.
Well, look at if you look at my reply, like you can see I put a photo too, right there. Literally no results found. That's Google. And that was their headline.
Womp womp.
So I don't know what is going on there. And that he didn't answer me either. Oh yeah, and supposedly that person,
then that would be admitting that,
Well, that person is one of the top holders of, allegedly the top holders of NextBridge also.
Allegedly. But here's the article that was part of that one. What did the company pay for this time? Yeah, and you've got the about here, so it was clearly paid for by the company. So they're saying that a mobile service platform, okay, okay. Oh, so they're going into Indonesian markets. Okay, 3 paragraphs of nothing to get to the point. Our good friend, however, Capybara's back. Capybara research back with an updated report.
Oh yeah, I replied to that too. Yeah, right there. There it is.
Oh.
Click on those. There it is. Consulting, salaries and wages. That was from the annual report.
That line item it was hiding under. Okay.
And that's the share compensation expenses. And then also it tells them about the other shares they're compensating consultants for.
I love his AI generated stuff. It's good stuff. Good stuff. The big thing though is and this is also the fault. This is old from like a year ago, but going into the whole ham short killer and his background history worth a read because he can't be a CEO anymore and had to pay out $4 million in fines for basically orchestrating market manipulation on the company that he operated. Oopsies. That isn't the only thing going on with Fingermotion right now. I'm trying to figure out here which one we want to go with next. Yes. along the lines of forging things, what about getting
this
called
again?
Photoshop images? Like, how many times this has been used for MMTLP so many times, and now like
Zoom in on the dog though. Zoom in on the white truck in the background. Can you zoom in or no? Yep, right there.
Oh,
that's the dog.
Like right here.
Yep, that's the dog. There's a little
There's a dog here.
Yeah, it's a like one of those.
Oh, so that's why they keep putting the dog in the image pictures.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering what that joke was about. But yeah, so
trick.
This is the original photo. That
Mark Basile posted it.
Yeah. So
what's so funny to me though also is like the truck like says like finger criminals. I don't know, this is so stupid, but it just makes me laugh.
Also, is this enough whistleblowing?
Oh my god, Amy was talking about how she thinks that that's fake. I'm like, I think that's real, and she's like,
no,
she thinks that whole thing is fake.
I'm pretty sure this is real, but that's
what I said.
This isn't doing anything like no one's paying attention to that.
Yeah, they have it parked on like a Friday before Memorial Day weekend. Like, you think anyone is really even there? No.
Also.
Or Memorial Day actually is next week. Never mind. But still, I mean, it's a Friday. No one's going to be there.
Not only that, but like, even if they were, how many fucks do they think they give about some truck? That's
literally zero. Like, they can't say they didn't know. Like, no, that's not how you do it. You're going to comment to them through also like legit channels. Like, that's
exactly
not
like their at tags, like where they do all these at tags as if anyone gives a fuck. Like, I think one time the FBI had to like literally send out a tweet like, if you at tag us, that's not filing. Like, if you have an actual problem, like actually file a report or call us. Like, at tagging does nothing. But it's that sort of Twitter activism, or like keyboard, like the least amount of actual, responsibility for doing something as possible, but gives the impression that you're doing something. The least amount of effort possible. That's what I found is how a lot of them operate, because
well, I mean, like, putting a truck there is more effort than is necessary. Like, what are you doing? I mean, it's not that hard to send an email to the SEC
or
but
it's actually do like a whistle. It looks like you're doing a whole lot.
Yeah, right. It's like engagement basically on social media.
That's basically all it is. We also have, as we call it over on Meltdown, ape on ape violence. Did you see any of the exchange between Polish dildo and Baggy Travis?
Yeah.
Where they were going back. It's like, what is it with, like, okay, so have you read the book that I talked about the cult psychology one by Stephen Hassan, like where they talk about this kind of thing, where he talks about this kind of thing where cults will be able to, like, if you talk to them about other cults, they'll agree with you because you're not talking about their cult.
Right.
And you can use that as sort of an in to deprogram them. But this is like a classic example of that. Travis is an AMC baggie. So the Fingermotion cult, and it also helps that like people like Polish Dildo and Scam Investor are part of the Project Popcorn people who are opposed to people like Travis. So even more reason. But like one fleeting light bulb moment where it's like, oh, well, the Fingermotion thing is clearly a scam. It's like, yeah, it is. But you talk to him about AMC, totally different story. He'll defend you to the last breath on it, even though both are bullshit. I had these probably saved because but we already looked at the financials. They're horrible. About the only thing going for it is that they're solvent. I mean, that's kind of like wait, I guess
they don't have a going concern risk.
Yeah. Which we found is like is like not an uncommon component. So like it is a serious question to ask with meme stocks, I guess. Are you solvent or not?
Well, yeah. Do you have a going concern risk?
Do
In
you have
your
a go? Are
latest
you a going
financials?
concern? Because like, so I guess they cleared the minimum requirements for being a functioning company. They are a going concern,
Hip hip hooray!
but that's about it. Speaking of companies with going concern reports out,
Oh,
questionable going concern. So,
oh dear, what
at
is
the beginning of
this?
at the beginning of this week, so there were people complaining that Wolfspeed, Wolf posts on Wall Street Bets were getting banned, getting locked immediately. And we found out the reason why. It's because Wolf traders have been using our Discord server to actively manipulate and organize posts here on the subreddit, among others. So they found out that there were people in Wolfspeed Discord servers basically coordinating, upvoting, and posting Wolfspeed posts on Wall Street Bets and other platforms to attempt to entice people into buying Wolfspeed.
Oh boy.
Excellent. So they
Well,
are
what
being
sub is this?
Wall Street Bets.
No, this says WSB banned them a while ago, and now we are too.
Oh, okay. So this must have been a different one. So they've been banned on multiple servers.
I mean,
Awesome.
I thought you had to have like a certain market cap, anyways, to be on Wall Street Bets. So
Probably.
I mean, I'm guessing this
part
must
of the
be
S&P 600, so it is a fairly prevalent company, but also, yeah, there have been coordinated efforts apparently to pump the stock, as it were, and no one wants that. So it may have been one of like there's a bunch of different communities. So, I mean, we see it all the time with these other groups where they'll go to some of the
short squeeze, r/short squeeze,
or well, they probably would have gotten buried on r/stocks, so it probably wasn't that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we also found this week that they had some pretty rotten financials, so much so that Jana Partners liquidated their entire position. Oof. That was followed up with Goldman suspending Wolfspeed's rating. Its rating for its
after my favorite going
concern warning. We'll get to that. There was also some news that dropped today that I'm not paying $70. Yikes. That they're, as part of their restructuring plan, likely to sell their RTP campus in, where was it? It was, it's in one of the Carolinas, Durham. In Durham, is that South Carolina, North Carolina? I can't remember. It's where Duke University is. It's North Carolina, right? Yeah, North. So, things not looking good for Wolfspeed. They have a going concern notice. Oh, do you have the financial statements? We can kind of go over those.
Yeah, sure.
Because I last episode we talked that their losses quarter over quarter were going at an exponential curve. I don't know if it's necessarily exponential, but they were not good. Oh, whoops, wrong one. Not that one. This one. There we go.
So where did it just go? So yeah, we have this is annual. We can do quarterly. This is what we're looking at.
Maybe could you zoom it in a little bit? There we go. So we're looking at a loss this quarter of $372 billion. After the last quarter, that was at 292.
282 was last quarter. 174, 148, 144, 395. Wow. So
it was bad, and then it got slightly better,
and then it got a little better, and then bad. Yeah, pretty much. So not great. Revenue not great.
it's even getting worse. Like it was starting to improve and then it flatlined and then just turned down.
And then
So-
they already have that 2025 restructuring plan going on. And they also do have in their latest financial report that they're either going to do an in or out of court restructuring, or they're looking to do that, which means literally Chapter 11 for their debt. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look at that balance sheet because I have a feeling that's not probably too hot either. What are we looking at for shareholder equity if we're talking insolvency here? Are they okay? So they're still afloat as far as shareholder equity, but it's vaporizing quickly. Is this annually or quarterly?
So we have quarter.
So they started the beginning of last year with shareholder equity of around $1 billion, and they've already vaporized down to 372 million.
Right. With 7 billion in liabilities. Or
Yikes.
7.3 billion in liabilities. But I mean, they still do have more assets
than liabilities. Which again, bullish, I guess. But yeah, it's not looking good. You said they do you have that? I can pull it up if not, but that
What do
one
you need?
graph that you had about the restructuring process.
You mean from their last quarterly report?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Hold on. Let me. So this is our last 10Q.
Currently showing just the landing page there on SEC.com.
Okay, hold on. Let me.
There we go.
So they're talking about negotiations are ongoing, potential restructuring, blah, blah, blah. And then they do talk about, where was it? The 2025 restructuring plan. So they're talking about that they plan to close whatever this device fabrication facility is.
Yeah, that's the Durham factory that we talked about. They've been trying to close that since August of last year. So I don't know if it's they haven't found a buyer or they're still being stingier than the market wants as far as the price for selling that. They've said that the facility is actually underperforming the one they just built. So if they could sell it, that might help, but they've still got a huge cash burn. I don't know what you do at this point.
Yeah, so this is kind of talking about that, like how they're going to reduce headcount by approximately 20%, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. Not looking great.
Not looking particularly great at all. And like, this is what confuses me, because last week we were talking about how the semiconductors they're making at their fab plants are not the kind of thing that the promoters online are trying to make it out to be. And then this week we got their most recent, earnings report, and looking at the financials, we already discussed they were bad. They've gotten worse. Now we have a going concern notice and possible bankruptcy. They're not technically insolvent yet because even though they have a negative cash flow, their balance sheet is still showing shareholder equity. So it's not a great look, but it's not the worst we've seen. If you want to hold that trophy up,
it's not the worst, but it's not great.
It's not great.
Amy had to do something tonight.
Yeah, Amy is busy, so she's not here tonight, unfortunately.
But she's okay.
Yes, that is good. She's okay. Her family's fine. Just got busy. Did you see this by any chance? This is my transition into MMTLP stuff. So apparently they tried to community notes a SEC post. So yeah, that's
yeah, I'm not. They always do shit like that, so I'm not surprised.
I didn't even know about this till now. So when I saw that, I was like, what?
I think they try to community note like every SEC post, so this is really not surprising.
Yeah, I see that's all news to me. So when I saw it, it just was.
They are active, absolutely. I mean, they're still sending FOIAs to the SEC every month too.
What? Well,
no,
yeah. Well, a lot of them are doing stuff like that, where they're doing like FOIAs and.
Well, you can look up and see who sends FOIAs to the SEC every month, and they are.
Yeah, because we did look at that one.
Yeah.
Speaking of a bit of a, we've had a recurring theme where.
Oh my God!
I wish Amy was here tonight for this because she had a real back and forth with Anna, and it went from Amy producing facts to Anna immediately going for the insults, like all these fucking baggies do when they get called out.
As usual.
She's desperately trying to turn her now defunct lawsuit into 15 minutes of attention.
No, this isn't even her lawsuit. This is.
Well, I know this isn't about that, but that's what I'm saying is she's trying to build on that to go somewhere, and
she's trying to say that.
On her parade.
Yeah. The sad thing is, like, okay, if you actually read what Drew writes, like I had to read it a couple times because I'm like, really, like, he's 100% right.
So what even is this rule that they're talking about?
So the rule is about the fixed income clearing corporation, and they're just like consolidating their deposit IDs. It literally has nothing to do with anything. It's like an operational, like just to make things more like smooth flowing.
They're basically streamlining things.
And it has nothing to do with equities. And she's just like going on and on and on about like,
yeah, because
they're going to use this to counterfeit, shares. And I'm like,
this right here
even included.
Is proof. This right here is proof that Twitter should never have allowed long form posting. Like, look how long that goes. This is ridiculous.
I know. I read it. I know it was bad.
Well, yeah, I couldn't be bothered.
Don't.
The minute I saw this, I was like, too long.
Don't do it. Bad.
Not worth it. But
not because I just wanted to see, like, is it correct? No, not even a little, not even
a little bit.
Not even nothing, not a single thing. And then the thing is, like, and then you can see the comments that have already been submitted, and they're all opposing it, right? And they're like, oh, I oppose it because of fucking blah 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 about like equities, and it's like, you guys, stop it. If you don't even know what it's about, like, stop it. If you can't even cite one single source, just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it.
Just stop. Get some
like
help.
I mean, you've seen me my comments to the SEC, like whatever, like I've commented on rule proposals before, but I've cited a ton of sources, right? Like maybe I'm wrong, but at least I can cite where I'm like getting my information from, right?
Yeah. Like that, basic things that most people should do. Like if you're going to, it's the same way if you're going to make a legal filing, because I mean, an objection to a law or or some sort of regulatory thing like this, that's basically what it is. So you better have some citations for the stuff you're saying, or like nobody cares. This is the one thing that I hate about a lot of these groups is they think just because they're the loudest or they have a lot of people that like the rule of law is about, it's like a vote. If we stuff the ballot box with a bunch of people who dissent, then they have to get rid of it. It's like, no, that's not how that works.
No, like they have to read everything. Like they're, the SEC will read every comment, but that if it's like completely wrong, then it's just not really going to do anything.
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow. We actually have more viewers on Twitch than YouTube. Ouch.
Wow.
Oh, amazing. So next
Everyone
up,
actually comes for Amy's boobs. Confirmed. I mean, yeah,
it's
true.
got assets. This one I'll let you carry because I tell you what,
Oh my goodness.
Attention to this. So apparently there was the SEC rule 15C2-11.
Yeah.
Why don't you explain that for?
So that has actually been around since 2021. So when it comes to like equities, they need to have updated financials. Otherwise, they will put you into what's now called expert market, where it's position close only. And part of that rule actually did include like fixed income, which Hannah doesn't understand, but bonds and stuff like that.
A lot of them don't understand fixed income. So.
Yeah. So it did include that, but then the SEC came out with like a no action letter that basically said, like it won't apply to bonds and stuff for a while. And it was until January of 2025. So they really didn't have to
that rule and applied it to the fixed income market.
Not until January of 2025.
Okay.
So as of now, they are supposed to make sure that they have updated financials, which obviously they don't. Yeah, they clearly don't. You know what I mean?
There's no like the liquidating trust has already gone through the waterfalls already.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
No financials.
Right.
So,
they need financials from the issuer, which doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. So that means that these are basically being locked down, and you can't trade them into yeah.
They're not even PCO for so no one's going to buy them. So you can't even sell them. So everyone who
I think this is great because this means that like shitco things that happen like this Bed Bath & Beyond thing where basically a dead company, I mean, not basically, a literally dead company that it like is going to give 2 pennies on the dollar
up
for
to
bonds.
2.5 pennies.
At most, it could be a zero.
It will be zero. Anymore. It will definitely be zero.
Yeah.
Right now they supposedly can't trade anymore, but I'm sure some people will
like maybe going forward if a situation like this happens, the minute the plan is approved, if they're likely to get zero, they stop trading. There's no go forward financials.
Or when the shares went to expert market, then the bonds will go to expert market, hopefully, from now on.
And it would make it harder for scumbags to screw people over.
To pump it for no reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
well,
so
another
basically
thing I saw it, they were putting in bids over $100 for these bonds or for like sell or buy orders. And I can't believe this had to be explained to people, but a bond's face value, full value, is considered 100%. So the only reason you would pay a premium is if the likely coupon payout is higher than the rest of the market. So say, and it's usually for the same security. So, or not security, for the same fixed income instrument. So like say I have some 30-year treasury bonds that I have 100% value that I bought at and have a 5% coupon. If interest rates go down to 4%, then sure, people will want to pay more than $100, the face value, for a coupon that's 1% more than is currently out in the market. But there's no reason, if there's no fluctuation in the discrepancy of the coupon value of the instrument, there's no reason to pay more than 100% or $100. So there are people basically putting in fixed like prices for fixed income instruments like they were equities. That's not like, this is the level of idiocy you're dealing with this.
I think it's like, every time anyone like said anything about buying bonds, I always liked it on Twitter because I love that. Anytime I saw it, I came, oh yes.
Great. So I got the whole thing, but I think I is this the clip that you were talking about?
Yeah, it's not very long. He talks about how amazing it is. Yes.
Awesome. Because like what we need is
it's even less than 4 minutes, I think. So yeah.
What we really need is a verified pathological liar.
Yes.
Talking to us about bonds. Awesome. Let's do this.
Did you listen to it? Because it's so
but
good.
My guess.
No, I'm going into this raw like I normally do.
Good.
Unless I have to chop up, I usually don't listen because I want my like raw emotions about
It's
how much
so
of a
good.
fucking idiot someone is. And we have some fucking idiot coming up, don't you worry.
Mhm.
Somehow stupider than our dear friend Houston Wade, if you can believe it.
Oh
But
wow.
my guess is this is hopium on my part.
Oh, well,
My
we can
guess
look at
is
that.
since payouts started going out to unsecured creditors, and the bondholders
They have
are
them.
in Class 6, those unsecured creditors, they may want to sort of establish their date of record to figure out who's going to get paid.
Yeah, none of you.
Also, there
None
seems
of
to
that.
be speculation. There's a huge problem of a bunch of naked bonds being sold. So people were selling bonds that don't exist into the market, right? And they need a record of where those bonds came from and who's responsible for them, so that the PILs, when payouts go to people, get taken out of the accounts of the folks who generated those bonds. Naked bonds are a big thing that groups like Citadel and other market makers have been doing in hedge funds. And we've known about it for 20 years.
Not really,
What?
no.
Is he
No.
talking like shorting them? What is he saying? I didn't listen to
Okay,
this
so
part.
he's misunderstanding how debt's rehypothecated to eliminate risk or to basically. So, man, explaining fixed income while inebriated and
Yeah, don't bother.
Yeah, but like there's like, so say I have a like, we'll keep it to government bonds because it's the simplest way to understand things. So say I live in Argentina. I have these really shitty Argentinian bonds. I can't use these as collateral to leverage up and take more debt and earn more money. Say I run a bank in Argentina. Worst life decision ever, I know. But for our example, let's keep with it. So in order to get more collateral into my bank to be able to get more money so I can, maybe create more loans to customers in Argentina, I need better collateral than these shitty Argentinian bonds. So I'll try maybe going to a bank like Citigroup, and Citigroup will be like, get that fucking shit away from me. Why would I want anything to do with Argentinian bonds? Or maybe they'll take it because, like, say, well, you got a nice coupon. If we take a haircut from that, we'll take the risk on that, and we'll give you our premium collateral that you definitely want, U.S. government treasuries, despite it getting downgraded. We'll get to that in a sec. So, yeah, U.S. collateral, better collateral. So I take a haircut on the, interest I'd be receiving from these shitty Argentinian bonds in order to get premium U.S. collateral that I can then take a loan against and then, use that to leverage up, sell more loans, make more money off of that. And the cycle goes for how much ever risk the bank can handle or is legally allowed to be able to handle. So I get a feeling it's something like that is what he's confusing. So if I am a broker and I've got a bunch of these bonds, these like, I don't think you'd even want to leverage up. That'd be kind of risky leveraging up Bed Bath and Beyond bonds. But like, say I want like these bonds are shitty, or like, it could even be like a hedge fund's got them in their account. It's like, I've got this shitty collateral. Let me sell it to someone else so I can get better collateral. So I can, better, say I want a margin against my account to be able to get more assets in. That sounds like something that he's misconstruing or doesn't understand, and it must be naked bondholders because they're lending out their fucking bond. It's just like, God, fucking help me. Because
I think he's just saying words.
Well, I mean,
because he literally just said that. You didn't even catch the beginning because this is clipped after the very beginning where he was
after the
talking
very
about,
beginning. So there's stuff.
Like he was like, "This is the most bullish thing since we became DK Butterfly."
Okay, we'll switch to this then.
Because
where is it in here?
Go to like 30 seconds at least. Because he just like blabs on for 30 seconds.
So, got good news going on. Rule 15C211 has been enacted on the Bed Bath & Beyond bonds.
Which we just talked about.
Now, basically, this stops trading whatsoever. Even people who attempted to position close only just to see if that worked could not close their bonds. There's
Throw it
no
out.
trading what's going on whatsoever on the bonds. We got notification last week that Class 6 was starting to get paid out.
That's not true.
So it looks
Yeah, that's
Not even close.
not even true at all. Like, you
Not
can
even a
like
little bit.
what's
Nobody,
funny about
not happening.
like Houston Wade lying about shit like this is they act like there isn't a bankruptcy docket that everyone can go to and immediately know that they're a fucking liar.
Yeah, but they don't though. That's the thing. They don't go to it. Like they just take what he says and are like, yeah, okay. Or they'll take what Jake says where he doesn't even know which PCR to look at and think, oh, there hasn't been any waterfall payments yet. Okay, that's because you're looking at the wrong PCR.
Awesome.
So yeah.
looks like the waterfall payments are starting to cascade through the unsecured creditors.
No.
No.
Like we knew at the beginning that the unsecured creditors were at best 2 cents on the dollar.
2.5.
2.5%. 2.5 pennies.
At best.
At best. And at times, there's like, as best we know, right? They still have administrative expenses to where the primary.
Right. They don't even think they can pay the admin claims. Exactly.
Yeah. And like,
so waterfall
they're
payments
jumping
have
up and
started.
down. And they're jumping up and down about the settlement in one of the cases, and like we don't know what the settlement was because it was a private settlement as far as the claims against the officers for the
shipping claims. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guarantee you they didn't probably get much, but we don't know.
Right. So the last PCR they did distribute $8 million, but it's hard to tell what that's from. So, I mean, it could have been from one of the settlements, but it's really hard to know. Like, I think we'll know more, in the next few PCRs, but it's not going to be a lot. And yeah, so some people were saying, oh, now that the bonds aren't trading, the waterfall is going to start. It's like, dude, the waterfall started in September of 2023.
Right when
already.
they approved the plan. Yeah.
It already started. It's been going. Every quarter, you can see how much waterfall is being distributed.
Like,
yeah,
it's less a waterfall, more like a loose tap.
And oh boy. So in previous bankruptcies where this has happened, where they put a halt on these bonds, there's been equity distributions, waterfall payments, etc.
Like I was saying, pathological liar.
I know.
He
like,
cannot help lying.
Probably because like he, told so many people to buy into Bed Bath & Beyond, so he just, can't admit like, oh, we fucked up, guys.
Some people don't remember from the original channel, but Dude Bro has a tab out for $500,000 in a judgment on a defamation case because he couldn't help calling his neighbor a pedophile, and he got sued for it.
And lost.
Pathological liar.
Gone out usually within about 3 weeks of that halt coming in. My guess is that they stopped the trading of the bonds so they could lock in who actually has them and get that on record. Because if they're still trading back and forth and waterfall payments are going through, wrong people might get payments based upon dates of record, etc. So they're making sure that that's who is there. So this is probably the most exciting thing to happen with Bed Bath & Beyond since I think it's more exciting than the settlement with the lawsuit with the board, since probably the announcement of DK Butterfly back in October 2023. That's probably it. That's probably I think we're back to the chin stroking, perhaps not just stroking the stupid after
oh my God. I'm glad I stopped right there before he could get too far ahead of himself. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's enough of that.
Great decision. That is definitely enough of that. But oh my God. What the fuck? Some of these people, when they identify themselves as degenerates, they don't realize how accurate they are about that statement.
Yeah.
Lifelong losers continuing their loser.
So exciting. Like the fact that they didn't own the name Bed Bath & Beyond anymore, so they had to change their name.
Yeah. But these people
was exciting.
Believe that like Hey, how you doing, Jen? Nice to see you.
Hey, Jen.
There was one other thing that I also was not hip to because I've just like mind dumped most of the Bed Bath and Beyond stuff out of the back of my head. Do you know what all this is about with the? Oh yeah, this is more of the 15C2-1 rules.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay, so it's more of that. Okay. I just saw this and it was a little different. Okay, so this clarifies the entire rule. And it's right there in the documents that they were sent explaining. Okay. I saw that, and for some reason I'm like, what is this? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. You just have to have updated financials or you get tossed to expert market. That's all.
Yeah. Our last thing in the meme stock stuff before we get back to serious business, which we're behind schedule on serious business.
Behind, really? Oh dear. All right.
Yeah. We're only going to give a little bit of this because
oh lordy,
this is going to be great. You know what I like for breakfast? 9/11 trutherism.
So you guys know building number 7, right? World Trade Center, building number 7. Everyone wonders how it fell down on its own, and it was a demo.
Oh my God, no.
Before you get to controlled demolition there, you fucking idiot. It was because the fires that burned for multiple hours and gutted the building. And there was also diesel generator tanks that caught fire. That's why building 7 went down, you dumb fat fuck motherfucker. Jesus Christ. This stuff's been known for almost 20 years now. And these, anyway.
Oh my God, it has been that long. Jesus.
What was in it? And then everybody says, oh, wait a minute. It was the SEC. That building was home to the actual Securities and Exchange Commission. But beyond that was the original tenants to Building 7, Drexel, Burnham, Lambert, who actually got shut down. Why?
Yeah, and now we hit the punchline there. I'm not going to make you sit through 2 minutes of abject stupidity.
Oh my God.
9/11 trutherism because private equity.
It wasn't FINRA?
It wasn't FINRA.
FINRA wasn't behind
private equity. Always private equity. Don't question it. It was always private equity. We're gonna skip over that because that's not near as important as this. This is what we'll start with on the serious business stuff. So we got the CEO. After the original one got shot, the one after him decided time to call it quits. Any reason you think, Platinum, why they'd want to call it quits?
Could it be the FBI investigation?
The Medicare fraud?
Gee. Perhaps.
Perhaps that might have something to do with it. See, I had heard that there was
in February.
That there was potential, but no, we got finally.
Well, in February, it came out that they were investigating them for a civil complaint, and now we have
because it's something to do with AI giving people false quotes and stuff like that. They were using yet another reason why I'm highly skeptical of this whole AI craze. People got fucked on their insurance claims because they were using AI to basically not only cheap out on having to hire someone to manage their health insurance claims, but also to find nefarious ways to fuck over their clients. Awesome. Great job, guys. But yes, we finally have an investigation for possible Medicare fraud. Because a lot of these insurance companies, what they do is they have like a Medicare Advantage plan or a supplemental Medicare plan where they will get your Medicare payments and then you pay a little extra and then they will give you shittier coverage than you would sometimes on Medicare. It's amazing. I'm not bitter or resentful at all that my grandfather was subjected to this at all. Anyway. So yeah. Make sure you get good health care in your old age, or make sure you have enough money to afford it.
Or buy some puts on UNH so you can afford your healthcare costs later.
Ooh, speaking of that, I've got yet another thing on there. Yeah, here it is right here. Speaking of such things, amazing you mentioned that because someone had that idea exactly the day before earnings came.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, how did they know?
What a great trader.
How did they know?
It was probably the ex-CEO.
From this. on the 13th.
Damn,
literally the
25
day before
million.
earnings. And the report came
Holy
out
shit.
that they were being investigated. Someone bought 300 puts, $300 puts expiring in September, put out $25 million in premium, over 10,000 orders, and they're up
$80 million.
$80 million. Just like, look at that. Like, that's not even
bad.
exponential. That's just a straight vertical line.
Mm-hmm.
We can add that to our, what was it we were talking about, the insider trading around the tariffs. Now we got insider trading around FBI investigations.
Mm-hmm.
Make crime great again. So that's the entire situation currently with UnitedHealth. There's still people like saying buy the dip on that. I'm like, I don't know. Why don't you? I don't like. Maybe it would be enough to put them out of business, but like, maybe it won't. But like, there's gonna. I would bet. Aside from executives going to jail, there's going to be significant sanctions for Medicare fraud. Like,
yeah,
that's some serious charges, and you don't like bring those lightly. Like, usually the government, when it's something that could affect a business and potentially cause a panic, not only in investors but people who are customers wanting to leave the business, they tend to avoid that sort of thing. So when the government comes with charges that a company is doing Medicare fraud, they usually make sure they know what they're saying and are not, fooling around. Like, they got pretty good evidence probably something was afoot.
right. And then UNH came out and said that they're not aware of this investigation, of course.
So they already had the bad financials and they didn't know until the rest of us knew.
Well,
Oops.
they're saying they're still not aware of the investigation.
So they've never been asked for anything.
Or who knows? I don't know. That's what they're saying.
Hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not looking good there. We do have some new updates also on the tariff front, because I know we've been talking about that recently. So last week we talked about the China deal, which is frozen stuff for 90 days. But then, let's see here, where was it? Oh, I thought this was the article that had it. Let me see here. Oh, yeah. So I guess that article wasn't it. Yeah, here we go. We'll go with that one. Which led us to like more flip-flop backpedaling. So tariffs were on from, the Liberation Day, and then they were off, and then we're making deals, and then they're on again potentially. And yeah, we got all the different things that have been going on with that. What was it?
Did you see Trump had a meltdown saying that Walmart shouldn't blame the
tariffs?
tariffs?
You mean this one? It was
oh
right
my god! Yeah, so stupid.
like it was like last week, wasn't it last week or the one? Yeah, it was last week where he was having the meltdown about Amazon potentially putting the tariff prices on.
Oh yeah, as like a line.
I was like,
love that idea.
How thin-skinned is this fucking administration that like a company's like, yeah, we're in the business of selling things. A lot of those products come from overseas.
Like, does he still not understand how they work? I mean, it kind of seems like it.
At this point, he has to know. At this point, it's just deflecting the blame, and I don't want to get too political and outside of our like finance sphere of things, but this is the same sort of gaslighting that we've seen the Trump administration do with other things like the, Abrego Garcia stuff, where in court they're saying, well, we accidentally sent him off to an El Salvadoran, gulag to get rid of him. But and they're being told to bring him back. And meanwhile, in the press, they're like, he's a criminal. He's part of MS-12 and and he's this horrible person. And if he comes back, we'll deport him again. And it's like, because they know the average person is not reading the case where the government literally admitted they fucked up. And it's the same sort of thing where, like, we know what tariffs do. Tariffs are a tax on the consumer at the end of the day, because more often than not, the company will pass those costs on to the consumer.
Oh, they will. Absolutely.
Yeah. But here's Donald Trump trying to gaslight you into saying that that's not the case and that Walmart's just lying to you. It's like this like fucking abuser.
They should eat the tariffs. Like, is that how business works now?
It's
like, maybe
not.
that's why you bankrupted casinos, because that's not how it works.
Oh my goodness. But like, it's like this sort of stuff is just absolutely numpty. And then, like, let's talk about the tariffs fucking up the economy and then taking no responsibility for that. How about just outright bribery? Like, whatever.
Oh, is this for the airplane thing, or
not just the airplane thing? Apparently a fucking golf course too.
Wow.
A Trump branded golf course in Qatar.
Oh my God.
So
we're not even done with the first year yet. This is crazy.
Oh, and then we get even more news that Attorney General Pam Bondi was taking money from the Saudis. It just is layers of bullshit upon layers of fucking bullshit. Like this is why we're calling it the Make Crime Great Again administration. So, and then they get their reward. Trump has now announced a $1.2 trillion investment package from the United States to Qatar, a company with a GDP of $200 billion. Gee, I wonder what all of that shit, the money that they were forking over to Trump and his administration members were for. It's like corruption in plain sight, and people are just, I don't want to say people, but like there's a lot of people just straight up ignoring it. But we're not done yet. We're not done yet with the potential fraud and corruption. Can you believe that there is more, Platinum?
Oh God. Yeah, I can believe it.
How about there are companies, an investment backing firm, the one that is trying to do the deal with for TikTok, bought a bunch of Trump coins, and they're like $2 billion worth, and they're wondering, well, I guess Trump just doesn't know anything about that. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Was this after he announced that the dinner thing, or?
Yeah. This is so this article from Wired is actually about after the announcement of who I guess who's being picked for the dinner is already announced, because the people
now they can
who
sell.
are already dumping their Trump coin.
Oh my God.
Like it makes it all the more obvious. Pay to play and pump and dump while we're at it.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Let's see here. Yeah. Well, and then of course we've got people who are stating the obvious that obviously this creates an even more, like you said, pay to play situation where if you want to influence Donald Trump, buy his shitco meme token, and or buy him a golf course, or whatever the case may be, and you will get all that your heart desires from him. And we mentioned it before, like Trump has not been shy about admitting he's a very transactional president. You do something for me, I'll do something for you. But this has just been taking it to all new levels. But enough with the corruption and degradation of the American society and government and all that stuff by the Trump administration. We have an executive order to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You found this one, so I'll let you take the lead, and then I'll give you some follow-up.
Well, I mean, from what it looks like, so scroll down a little bit. It basically looks like he's trying to say that, like, there's too many rules, and who's going to read all these rules that people can get in trouble for?
That was part of it. The lead-in is really confusing because, like you said, like they're talking about all these rules and everything, and no one reads the rules, so let's just ignore the rules.
Yeah, who can even read anyways?
We don't read all the rules, which, I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, there's this book that I've read called 3 Felonies a Day, which was talking about how And like it talks about how some of the ways that the federal government uses the vast and expansive federal rule book to find ways to entrap you or get you. The whole 3 felonies a day thing being a play on the joke from the old Soviet Union that there was such an expansive legal structure that was intended to entrap citizens, that basically any and all citizens in the Soviet Union had committed on average 3 felonies a day. It was just a matter of when and where that the dictatorial government of the USSR would come down and fuck you with the law. So I get the sentiment to an extent, but it really comes off, given the administration's let's make crime great again, that it's just exempting it, people from it. But if you get down into it, what it seems like the intent of the executive order is something that I get, but also confuses me. So they're talking about regulatory law. So what they're trying to say is that certain regulatory functions, there's the wording for it. I read this during the week and then completely forgot to reread it again. And now I'm going to be, oh yeah. So they're talking about avoiding strict liability being applied to the criminal code. So strict liability is, the best way to explain strict liability is, think of it like a traffic stop. If you blow through a red light, it doesn't matter if you intended to blow through the red light, mens rea, having a guilty mind. It doesn't matter if you intended purposely to break the law. Strict liability says you broke the law, therefore you get fined, you get a penalty for it. Were you, like, same thing with speeding. If you were going over the speed limit, it doesn't matter if you were intending to break the law or not, criminal mind.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're trying to say is that for things that are strict liability like that, it should stay regulatory, which I can sort of understand, criminalizing something because it was done rather than did it actually harm someone. So like another strict liability situation would be like all the actions that the SEC does. So like regulatory stuff like finding virtue or stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's already not criminal.
But also the SEC also does things that are strict liability, that are regulatory, that are, well, I mean, not strict liability.
Well, of course, they cite a Securities and Exchange Commission.
Yeah. Well, United States versus, yeah. So United States versus United States Gypsum and Janisky versus Securities Exchange Commission.
They do civil, they don't do criminal. That's
right. But there are some things where they overlap and you can recommend it. So like say someone was committing legit fraud, the SEC can bring a civil action and the DOJ can be recommended to bring criminal actions in a lot of these cases that we've looked at. So what they're saying is if it's a strict liability thing, it should stay as a regulatory thing, not be criminal unless there's actual criminal intent, something that has like sinister, like, like some of these laws that follow under the SLURA, some of these actions that fall under the SLURA where there's actual fraud and you have the different elements. Sinister is like that sort of mens rea thing. But there's one part of here that they're kind of forgetting that it also makes me wonder if, like you said, that this is an attempt to legalize things, because there's different levels here. So you've got strict liability, which we just talked about. It's like the traffic ticket thing. And on the other far end, you have mens rea, like, for certain, like say murder or stuff like that, they have to have a guilty mind. Like they had the mind to do the guilty act they're being charged of. And then there's actus rea, like say Ethan harassing people. Like he may not, I think he does because how the way he acts has a guilty mind. But if someone like let's say Ethan kept calling you and you told him to stop calling you, the fact that he keeps calling you afterwards is actus rea. He had an act which he knew would lead to liability for harassment. You told him to stop calling you. So by the act of doing that thing, he's guilty. Or in the case of, say, something like negligent manslaughter, where someone, through their own negligence caused, someone died when they should have reasonably known that there was a risk that they were exposing someone to. A reasonable person would understand the risk that they were putting that person in would have led to their death. And that's also actus rea. So like, that's also not mentioned in here. So there might be certain regulatory actions where there might be, like, say, something that doesn't rise to like mens rea, but would fall under actus rea, which would be a lot closer to strict liability. But they don't ever mention that in there. It feels almost like they're trying to reach a legal conclusion, so they're not fully like fleshing it out, if you know what I mean. Like, this is the part that kind of gets me with this, is like, it sounds like a solid like legal thing, like what they're saying is makes sense, but it also feels like they're not, going over the entire process, if you know what I mean. Like, they're trying to wall off certain things and keep them civil so they don't end up in criminal.
Well, they also look at Section 4. They want, within 1 year of the order, the head of each agency, in consultation with the Attorney General, to provide like this whole report of like all criminal regulatory offenses enforceable by the agency or the Department of Justice, and all these different things.
To basically add more complications for, reporting requirements for if you want to do these sorts of things.
And then all future notices of proposed rulemaking and final rules, blah, blah, blah. Like, they want all this crap. There's a lot of executive orders happening.
Which is really funny because, like, it's like, isn't this like the thing that they were complaining about previous administrations doing, rule by executive order? And yet, how many executive orders have we gotten in the first 90 days of this presidency? It's kind of astonishing. But I guess rules for thee and not for me. Speaking along of other Trump policies, the whole drill baby drill thing, into a stagnating economy and also plunging oil prices, I'm sure that's working out really well for oil companies, especially the ones that are like the shale producers that have the highest expense because they've got to drill through all that shale to get the oil, and their processing is more expensive. They're more sensitive to falling oil prices, and that's where a lot of U.S. oil is. And it's probably the reason why, as Jeff Davies points out, that this current administration, given we're only like about 5 months into it, has an actual percentage drop in oil. Like, Biden had a net negative, Obama here 4% and 6%. That also probably has a lot to do with how high oil prices were at that time, because the big oil spike came during, Obama's 2 terms, and then we had the whole shale revolution, and that caused prices to fall. And then during the first Trump administration, you saw only about 4%, 0% during Biden, and now you have actual negative because, as we've seen, the falling oil prices makes it not as advantageous to be drilling oil wells right now. Like,
yeah.
What is oil even setting at right now? Out of curiosity.
No idea.
Because, okay, so it's up a bit from the lows. Like, the lows at the beginning of May, we were around, WTI was at $56 a barrel. It's now up again at like 61.83. And just for some perspective, that's pretty near the peak we had, like right before the COVID drop. Our highest oil was back in during the reopening at $123 a barrel. The peak last year was $87 a barrel, and now we're hovering around the 50s and 60s. Not exactly, and I mean that's why you've probably seen this huge drop off, because like I said, the highs on oil prices, like when you throw in inflation, was prior to these two administrations. So obviously you're not going to see as much oil going there, and so and really even with the barrels of oil dropping, I haven't really noticed a change in the price of the pump. Have you? Because it's like at some point, even if the price of the barrel of oil goes down, you still have other expenses for the gas station at the final product stage. I mean, gas prices haven't been super painful, but I haven't seen them move meaningfully to the downside. Now, given these prices are pretty recent, and it might take some time before you see it in the actual price of the pump, but I can't recall seeing any meaningful price.
It's still like the same. I have to get premium gas, and it's still like the same for me. So,
is your car?
I have a Volvo. It tells me that I have to do 93 or above.
Oof.
So that's what I do.
The next thing I kind of wanted to get into was sort of this techno bro. You know, I'm a World of Darkness guy, so I kind of want to just call them the technocracy of the Silicon Valley types that are trying to basically do things that harm other people but line their wallets. Man, for a libertarian, I'm sounding pretty liberal, and it's getting a little terrifying. But also, this sort of stuff kind of bends me the wrong way.
Isn't there only like 10% of the CFPB left, anyways?
I've not been following the CFPB dismantling, but
oh yeah,
expert on that. But basically, the rule is that they're talking about here is that it's talking about the data that public like social media websites and other websites can collect about you, and how, as part of what I assume the general dismantling of the CFPB is going on, is basically saying, yeah, your privacy, we really don't give a fuck about that.
Right.
Yeah,
I like retweeted something from, there was a letter from Attorney Generals explaining that gutting the CFPB means fraud victims don't recover, rather than cutting fraud and waste or enabling it. So the Washington Attorney General and the Colorado Attorney General both wrote a letter about like a bankruptcy, and how the CFPB was helping. They have like a civil penalty fund, and they have stopped providing responses to our inquiries. Because because they're gone.
Yeah, they've been properly dismantled.
Sad.
And this isn't the only thing. Luckily, this one seems to be not doing near as well. Apparently, there was if you remember, they switched out who was the in charge of the Copyright Office and the Library of Congress. The move was to basically dismantle copyright law. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of these AI companies are running the problem, like you're aggregating data to create this AI and that can, create art or do everything that technically has to be modeled off of other people's work and therefore is derivative. So where does the line for fair use and where's the line for literal copyright infringement?
Right.
And of course, AI companies with AI, like say Google, XAI, ChatGPT, and even to certain extents like Facebook and others, would like that line to be as blurry as possible so they can make money, and they'd appreciate it a whole lot. it's kind of interesting how this one, however, apparently backfired because from what I understand from the article, while those two were fired, spending disposed action, Blanke and Perkins are the result of basically these people from Silicon Valley that are bending more Republican, asking for this. But also, there's also other arms of the populist side of the Trump administration fighting back against this as well, because there's the sort of populist bent that, you know, we need to keep this sort of proprietary either copyright or trademarks or patent infringement and stuff like this to protect from like China or other individuals. So there's sort of this tug of war between the technocrats, the technocracy group like Silicon Valley conservatives, and the more populist who want to basically protect intellectual property right laws and everything like that. And that's basically what's going on right now. So it isn't so much Trump administration being duplicitous like some of the other stuff, and more like a power struggle between two competing interests inside the administration that will have to be watched, because it'll be the future of how, you know, trademarks and patents and copyright law is going to be in America. So you'll probably want to actually keep an eye on that. Also speaking of that, on a little sidebar thing along with that. So as you know, Facebook is being sued for copyright infringement for taking stuff without permission to fuel its AI. And they apparently admitted in one of its most recent filings that they were actually feeding pirated material into the AI algorithm to train it. Just a little quick something there, just as a funny. It's good to know that I'm not the only one that pirates things. Large behemoth companies also pirate.
Meta has Napster running in the background.
No, I was too young for Napster. I used the thing that always destroyed family computers. It's called LimeWire.
Napster and LimeWire around the same time. You had them all, and you were downloading all your stupid songs.
Yeah, and they were always either had the wrong song name or the wrong artist name, or
and then you had it playing in like the Windows music player. Like,
speaking of AI, were you having fun with this one at the time, Platinum, where the Grok was having an issue with the white genocide in South Africa moment?
Okay, so I saw like a Grok announcement where he said that like one of the what do you say? One of the developers put some rogue code or something in there.
There's a lot of people.
Is this what they were talking about?
Yeah. So there was a lot of people that was saying, like, I believe that at least in this instance, this was clearly an attempt to troll Elon, because he's been kind of leaning in that direction. But I like putting out something so blatant was going to get backlash. There's no way that, at least at this stage of the Overton window, that you just straight out do that. And I would. There's a lot of people out there that were saying that, you know, oh well, this is the true Elon coming out. And I tend to more lean with the argument that it was designed to troll Elon, knowing that most of the people that straight up despise him would just take it for rote that, yeah, this is something Elon would do. And I don't doubt that he believes that there's a white genocide going on in South Africa, but he's not going to say that fucking out loud. That's dumb.
Yeah.
That isn't the only thing, though, that was going. Yeah, because here's the article right here where, like you said, unauthorized changes to.
Right. Yeah. So I saw the announcement like from the Grok account, basically.
And they've gone back and deleted all the old.
Oh yeah, I didn't even like look into it, so I didn't even know what it was about. So that's nice to know what it was about.
Yeah, I know some people are not the biggest fan of Rolling Stones, but this is more online of what I'm like things going on there where it's not explicit. It's not explicitly. I'm not saying the Nazis were cool. I'm just saying that the numbers might have been fudged on the Holocaust. You know, that sort of like milquetoast Holocaust denial shit.
Jesus.
Like that is more like what, like, you're not going to see outright stuff. Like, that's how you can tell the whole white genocide in South Africa thing was a prank, because this is more the stuff you see from like people who believe those sorts of things. This sort of like half-assed, will slowly turn up the heat until the frog, boils itself alive shit.
Yeah.
Like, they know they can't come out and say the Holocaust was fake or that that the Nazis were cool. So they play this tippy-toe shit of like, well, I mean, they didn't really kill that many people, guys. The fact that we're having this is the crazy thing about it's so current era. We have people doing Holocaust denial and being taken seriously. We've got Morantz and his 9/11
I just thought
trutherism.
of that too. Yeah.
We have the highest office. We've got RFK Jr., who currently is in the highest position when it comes to health in the United States, spouting anti-vaxxer bullshit and taking swims in a scum-infested creek.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all the stuff that we grew up and everyone knew objectively was bullshit, conspiracy, numpty nonsense is now mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
But like, whatever.
It's like Facebook in real life. It's like your crazy uncle.
Another crazy conspiracy theory again.
Exactly.
Crazy Uncle Bob from Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Sent me something on Facebook. Except now they're running the government. So.
Mm-hmm. I saw like he was saying something about like seeing things appear from the ground or something. Did you see that? RFK Jr. Yeah, some fucking weird ass tweet. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? He said something about like, don't be surprised when you see things coming out of the ground or whatever. I don't know what the hell's going on. Whatever.
Well, maybe that's what happens when you have heroin withdrawals. I don't know.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
So I think we'll have to, I have a bunch of other stuff backloaded, but we may only I want to get the DOGE stuff done, but we're rolling up on 3 hours. So we'll do that and probably cut it there. And I don't know, I might come back with some of this other Elon stuff later, but surprise. Huh?
Sorry, he's wearing two hats, and that's distracting. Go ahead.
Is that so he's got a Gulf America hat, and I bet it's the dark MAGA hat underneath that, right?
Oh, I thought it was going to be like a Twitter hat or something underneath.
I mean, maybe, I guess. I don't know. You can't see because the other hat's over it, but surprise, surprise, DOGE is still overstating how much in cuts that it's doing this time. Real estate cuts. Took credit for more than $600 million in real estate savings, but has cut back on some claims. Oh, from $660 million to $500 million to $400 million to then $311 million. And they give us a nice chart of all their little fuck ups.
Well, the things that they're cutting, a lot of the things that they were saying they were cutting, it'll be like a budget of whatever, say like, $100 million or whatever, but they've already spent so much of that budget already, right? And they only have a certain amount left, but they were counting it as the 100 million, even though, there was only like maybe whatever, like 10 million left or whatever on that grant, And
then they were taking the full value as if they had anything to do with it.
Right. Exactly. And then they were just like like going in and kind of like control effing fucking random words and just cutting whatever.
So yeah, also in addition, grand total, they've removed a total of 31 more incorrect claims and 122 million in savings from its wall of receipts. So much for dem receipts, huh? But that doesn't stop there. How about we do some unconstitutional branch crossing of the streams of power, where DOGE is now trying to get into the Government Accountability Office. If you're not aware, the Government Accountability Office is a congressional body, not an executive branch body. And so the Government Accountability Office, in the nicest worded letter, basically told DOGE to go fuck itself. Yeah. Not surprised that this is coming on. Because, like, the Government Accountability Office is doing what DOGE does, except it actually does it because it educates lawmakers on the laws they're going to pass so that they know how much it's going to cost and they can cut out inefficiencies. Wow. It's like we already had that concept or something. But, you know, maybe if we're lucky, DOGE is not long for this world anyway, because even conservatives in their own party who got Musked found out that Musk is not the magical Wizard of Oz that he proclaims himself to be. And so him and DOGE might be getting the boot anyway. I do like the title there, DOGE. The DOGE caucus is dead. Republican Jared Murkowski isn't attending the funeral. Republicans say that the congressional working group is just getting started. DOGE caucus means, but yeah. So basically, as it's become more and more apparent that DOGE is not doing what was promised, that the lawmakers who were backing it are pulling the plug because it's becoming politically infeasible to support it, especially given the backlash of the things that DOGE has been cutting and the effects it's having on the average American. It's kind of the pervasiveness of government money in the beginning. Anyway, everyone likes the idea of the government cutting inefficiencies unless it's money going into their pocket. And then suddenly it becomes, wait, you're taking money from me? Stop. Stop that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also why you have to be a lot careful with, you know, any sort of expenditure out of the government treasury, because it's really easy to pass giving money to people. It's a lot harder to take that money back at a future date.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I have a lot more stuff, but we can save it for later or do it another time or whatever the case may be. Do you have a stupid tweet of the week? Because I have mine, and Amy's pretty sure that this one was going to win.
Honestly, not really.
I'll go ahead and post mine.
Yeah, you do that.
So mine is, I don't know if you saw this BAM post at the beginning of the week. I bragged that it's Sunday and I already have stupid tweet of the week. So BAM made this stupid, he basically took Black Betty and added his own lyrics to it. But because BAM is an untalented hack, he didn't, like, when he made the song, he didn't even sing his own lyrics or get an AI to do it. He just put the lyrics on and then just played Black Betty and then had one of his, like, stupid, arrow things point at the lyrics, except he doesn't point along with the lyrics so you can sing along either.
Oh my God.
Like, this is how much of a waste of carbon and a fucking oxygen thief that BAM Investor is. That, like, he is this fucking lazy that he comes up with something and then just can't even follow through on the entire gimmick of it. Ham. Well, that would be probably Ham Short Killer
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's just Bam and Ham.
Yeah, they're like co-conspirators, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So like, and then halfway through, if you go down the lyrics, so he does the Bam and Ham, and then down here he just kind of fucking gives up on it. So he goes back to Bam a Lamb, like the lyrics. So like, what a pathetic fucking loser! Like this is the classic example of how do you do, fellow kids? Like.
Ham is the Gary Valinotti, right? The one who got like barred by FINRA or whatever for like pump and dump penny scams and all that shit.
Fined for $4 million for his pump and dump shit while he was CEO.
Yeah, he's still at it.
Still drifting. He's like, I need to check up with who was following that. Was it Dolphin or was it someone else was following up on him and his eviction from his apartment that he currently rents for back due rent that he wasn't paying?
Was it him being evicted?
Or was it his friend or something like that?
I thought it was, I can't remember. I thought it was like his business partner or something.
It might have been that. I just remember that was a thing, and then I just got distracted with other stuff. So I just wasn't paying too much attention to that. So do you have a stupid tweet, or do I just win by default? And then,
you can just win,
win by default, because like I remember when I posted that, and Amy was just like, "Oh, you just win by default because how dare you song?" That's
yeah, that was extremely stupid. So congratulations.
Yeah, I know. It was like, and it happened on Sunday. I'm like, "Are you serious? It's Sunday?" And
yeah.
You know,
you were gifted on Sunday.
I was gifted a blessing from the gods. Something so stupid and brain dead, we can all agree without even contesting that it is that dumb. So
I have no chance.
No chance in hell. So that wraps us up for tonight. Anything that you would like to send us off with, Platinum, before we go off into the night?
Well, thank you. And, you know, we missed Amy, so this wasn't the same without Amy.
I know Ocelot was going to join. He's probably enjoying that AMC popcorn that he bought. I'm getting people addicted. Some? Yeah, he did.
Oh, I keep meaning to buy some, but then it's like kind of expensive though.
I told you it's a whole $1 more than the normal box I get that comes with 12 packages. It's $5.80 and it's only 6 packs.
Oh, okay. See, I'm finding it for like $15 for 6 packs on Amazon. So
what?
That's what I mean by it's expensive.
I'm going to the store and it's $5.80.
Yeah, I have to actually like head off to Walmart, and then they'll probably, you know, tariff that shit.
I don't know. We got a lot of corn in Iowa, so I don't know.
Hopefully, but yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So that'll do it for this evening. Thank you once again, y'all, for joining us. And